Together, Joan. Because we keep doing it live. Hello. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live every Sunday, usually at 7. 9 times out of 10 at 7. Sometimes I push it back. I don't know what I'm going to do next Sunday. It's Easter. Uh, oh, man, what am I going to do next Sunday? I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Oh, boy. But what a weekend I had. Holy cow. I had one of the piniest weekends of all time. First, I went to Ostera Fair in Pennsgrove, New Jersey. And it was a brand new show. It was great. Had a good time. And people bought books, so that was really nice. And then, at the last minute, I got into an event at Whitesbog. Now, this is a historic village down in the Pine Barrens where they first cultivated blueberries. These are the blueberries everybody knows. They were cultivated in the 20s, early 20s, by a female doctor of botany. I forget her name. I want to say her last name was White, but I think that was one of her associates. And they still have the bogs. The bogs were looking very nice. I think they did some work on the bogs. They cleaned the place up really nice. And for some reason, the fair featured the Vikings. The Vikings, a group of guys who LARP as Vikings came down and they built a fire and they dressed as Vikings. I was like, it's not very piney, but okay. I didn't care. But the more piney of us were in the barrel maker shop where they set up the authors. And I had a surprisingly good day for the amount of people. There weren't a lot of people at this thing. And I didn't think the Vikings were interested in buying books at that moment anyway. Not that they weren't nice. But then turned around, somebody bought a whole set of books from me. I was like, wow, all right. That was a good time for me. And for them when they read the books, of course. So I was very excited. Now I got to order some more books because in 2 weeks I'm doing the New Jersey Folk Festival, which I'm very excited for. I don't know if I'm going to sell as many books as I imagine in my head I'm going to sell, but I got to buy some extra just in case, you know. So I got to order some books tonight. So that'll be the thing I'm doing. And then what else? Oh, Saturday night, me and my girlfriend went to Bruno's in Haddon Heights. That's a good place. That is a local place. It's a mom and pop eatery. It's been around for probably at least 30 years. And if you don't know, in South Jersey, we have awesome pizza places. But every pizza place, and one of the reasons they're all awesome, is almost every pizza place has a restaurant side and they serve Italian food, like really good Italian food in many cases. So it's not just pizza, right? Like most places will make, for instance, chicken parmesan, which is one of my favorites, either in a sandwich form or a whole meal, like, salad, the spaghetti on the side, or some kind of pasta, and the chicken parm, and then maybe it might be some appetizers. One of the appetizers we have here in South Jersey, it's not, I don't like it because I don't like peppers. I know I'm a bad Italian, but they'll take peppers and they'll put them in like kind of a spicy red sauce or something, and they'll let them get all sort of goopy, and then you sort of take a piece of bread and a fork and you kind of put it on the bread and you eat it with the peppers, and it's got olive oil on it too. Not my favorite. I just don't like peppers. I don't know what it is. But very Italian thing. Sometimes they'll have just the olive oil or flavored olive oil on the table with a little bit of salt and pepper and garlic powder. Maybe if they're really good, they'll put a little lemon in it. They'll squeeze a little lemon. You dip your bread in that. That's a good time. That's a good Italian time. If you got good Italian bread, and they often do. That's the amazing thing. So what they'll do, and this is what Bruno's does, they'll take their pizza dough, and they'll make little rolls, little tiny rolls, like triangles, just out of the dough. Pop them in the pizza oven for whatever, and then, man, you got a hot roll, and they're delicious. They're like, it's like fresh baked rolls. Who doesn't like that? Oh, they're good. Yeah, so it was a good time. So I have some leftover Brunos for after the show. Looking forward to that. And tomorrow, the girlfriend has promised me to make cheesesteaks. She was going to make me cheesesteak sometimes this weekend, but for whatever reason, we didn't get to it. And so she said, oh, how about Monday? Come over. And I was like, oh, okay. That's a good time. So I'm just having the best weekend. Oh, and I got this book today from Amazon I ordered. This is John McPhee, The Pine Barrens. This is a very influential book in South Jersey. This book came out in, I think, 1968, and it's the book that helped start the preservation movement for the Pine Barrens here. So McPhee was recently honored. He's 94. He's still around, and for his work. And so I still haven't read it all these years, but finally I got a copy of it. I'm surprised how little it is. I thought it was going to be a longer book, but this is like a perfect length for me because I have a very short attention span. And then bonus, I'll show you the back of my shirt. I'm wearing a Valenzano Winery shirt. I've done some events at Valenzano talking about the Jersey Devil. And then on the back, you can see it, you got the Jersey Devil illustration there. That one's pretty cool. I think it should be on the front. I'm trying to get one of their t-shirts. I think the t-shirt version has it on the front. So very excited. All right. Where are we at here, Joan? We're at 7:03. Where the hell is everybody? Am I on? Oh, stream's on. All right. Not sure what's going on. All right. We'll just soldier ahead. People might be busy. I don't know. We'll just soldier ahead and see what's happening in Hollywoke. Check over my Twitter feed, see if anybody acknowledged. I don't know if anybody did. No. Here's the thing. I'm just throwing this out here, Elon. Twitter or X or whatever. I don't see my... Now, I got the check. I paid for the check. I know you got to pay premium now, which is like some ridiculous charge, like $50 a month or something. But I would expect that my tweets are seen because I am at least paying the minimum. I feel like my tweets are seen about, I'm gonna ballpark it 3 to 4 hours later, even longer. I get people who respond to me sometimes the next day, like they just saw the tweet. And these are tweets that are very timely. So either I'm getting the response back very late, like, hey, I saw your tweet, or vote up, or whatever, or they're seeing it very late and then liking it. But what do I gotta schedule my tweets a day in advance? Come on. I think it's the internet. It should be a little more responsive than that. Just saying. But yeah. So everything's on. Live chat's on. Likes 1. I don't know. Nobody's here. All right. We'll just forge ahead. I think everything's operating. Just make sure the stream health is good. I love checking the stream health. It says it's excellent. That's the entire tool. It either says excellent or nothing, or it says, oh, it's bad. And then there's nothing you could do. There's literally nothing you can do. It's terrible. The stream health is awful. It's dying. Do something. And there's nothing you can do. There's no buttons. There's no one you could call. So I don't know why they have this tool that does nothing. But anyhow, we're going to look at the box office. I guess we're just doing this, you and me, Joan, like the old days. No one got to share in my good fortune. That's sad. Well, I hope you had a good weekend anyway, if you're watching this later. First up is the Minecraft movie. A juggernaut at 80 million plus. Only a drop of 50% almost exactly. So that's pretty good. I don't think this thing's doing $1 billion, but it might. I mean, we're at 550, but I think it's going to peter out before $1 billion, but we'll see. It does have legs. So if we're at exactly, yeah, it looks like we did about the same amount, actually a little lower internationally. So next week, we're doing about 40 million here, 40 million there, so another 80 million. That'll put us at like 630. Then say 40 million, that'll put us at 670. 20 million, 690. 10 million, 700. 5 million, 705. 707. 706. Done. Now, if you add in the week in between, ballparking it, maybe you look at another 100 million, maybe 125. I think it peters out around 825, 850. I don't think you're going to get to $1 billion. Now, maybe with the DVD, Blu-ray releases, you might, between that and the streaming. But we'll see. I mean, maybe this, I mean, it's doing well. I don't know if it really has legs, because the drop-off during the week was pretty sheer. Again, I think most of the audience, they go to school. What is this? This is April. Everybody's still in school until another month. So they can't get to the theater during a week unless their parents drive them. What parent's going to drive their kid to see Minecraft in the middle of the week? I don't think that's happening. I mean, maybe it's their birthday or the parent has a day off and they're really into Minecraft or something. I think most of them are going to save it for the weekend. So, yeah, I think that audience sort of skews pretty young and male. I don't think they're getting to the movie theater mostly in the middle of the week. I think it's mostly on the weekends. So, but it's doing well. Number one for the second week in a row. I'm sure they'll be touting that. I'm sure Jack Black is breathing a sigh of relief that everybody's forgotten about the scandal with Tenacious D and his cohort there. Number two, and this is not all that surprising, The King of Kings from Angel Studios hit pretty big. This is an animated story of Jesus. I don't know how many more of these are they going to make. At some point, don't the religious people run out of religious movies to make? You know, I mean, the only thing to do is to branch into other religions or dive into books of the Bible nobody even heard of. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I'm sure it's fine for, you know, the story of Jesus or whatever, but how many times? But you're looking at 19 million. That ain't too shabby. Ain't too shabby. This would have won the week a few weeks ago. So that's pretty good. And then at 15 million is The Amateur. This is Remy Malek's new movie. He plays kind of a geek kind of researcher for the CIA, and his wife is, I think she's killed, or at least it seems that way, and he goes after the people who plotted it. But I suspect the end of the movie will be a big twist. So the biggest twist of all would be, of course, she's alive and she's in on it. But so he's not a CIA agent. He wants to be a field agent to avenge his wife. But everybody tells him, like, you can't just be a field agent. But he insists, and he knows things, and he's good at what he does, but he's not good at killing people. And so Lawrence Fishburne in a scene, and this is pretty good, he confronts him and says, here, pull the trigger on me, you know, that kind of thing. And he can't do it, of course, and so he says, you just don't have the stomach for it. But he uses other means. So he uses his brain, essentially, and I have a screenplay similar to this. It doesn't have CIA stuff in it, but about a smart guy who kills people for various reasons. So it looks pretty decent. It looks smart enough for Remy. Remy or Remy? I think it's Remy. 32 million worldwide. Pretty meat and potatoes movie. About time. Hopefully there's no crazy woke scenes in it. I don't think there are. Number 4 is Warfare at 8.3 million from A24. These are all just premiered. This movie just kind of looks sad and depressing. Warfare embeds audiences with a platoon of American Navy SEALs. Oh, it's a documentary. I'm confusing this with another movie then. In the home of an Iraqi family, overwatching the movement of U.S. forces through insurgent territory. A visceral, boots-on-the-ground story of modern warfare told like never before in real time based on the memory of the people who lived it. No, this is a fictitious movie, but it's based on a true story. Yeah, no, this is a narrative. The production budget was only $20 million. So, at $8 million, you're probably looking good to at least break even for the production. I mean, next week will probably be about 4. That puts you at 12, then 16, 17. Yeah, you'll definitely hit that 20. I don't know about, I've been hearing about that movie for a while. It may have spent a lot of money on ads. Number 5, and this looked halfway decent too, from Universal, Drop, 7.5 million domestic, only 2.5 million overseas, but this looked pretty good. So the premise is this woman goes out on a date. It's a thriller. So she goes out on a Tinder date and meets this guy and leaves. She's a single mom, of course. So leaves her kid in the care of some babysitter. And meanwhile, some guy takes over her phone and breaks into her house and basically says, "You have to do what I say or I'll kill your son." So she's been pushed into killing the guy she's on the date with, basically. And she, of course, doesn't want to do it. And at first sort of starts to do it, but then changes her mind. And eventually she's, trying to rush home to keep her son from being killed and the babysitter, I assume. It's a little girl bossy. I think it should probably be a guy. Yeah. I mean, it looks like a decent flick, though. But again, I don't know how many women would do this, right? Like, I know one woman who would do it. I told her she would do it. But, yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be stronger if it had a male lead. But that's just my opinion. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Number 6, The Chosen Last Supper Part 3 from Fathom Events, 5.8 million. Again, I don't. How many more religious movies can religious people go see? I'm not religious, but Jesus. I guess they really like them. I guess they just love going to see Jesus. So that's not too bad. My worry is, of course, this is going to be the hot new trend in Hollywood, and I think it will be. And then Hollywood will come out with every friggin' story of the Bible over and over again, and it'll just flood the theaters with Christian religious movies. Now, some of them would be pretty interesting, I'm sure. Like some of the more obscure stories of the Bible where crazy stuff happens, but I don't even know if Hollywood would do it justice, because you see how they handle religion. I mean, Angel Studios would probably be okay with it, but the guys, whoever does The Chosen, I think that's Angel Studios too, isn't it? If I'm remembering. Oh, Indy Phantom is here. Sorry, Indy. I was here by myself. I tuned out. Oh yeah, I heard Warfare was solid. Airdrop, clever. Indy Phantom, tough to do thrillers in the age of this high tech. Yeah, but the first scene, one of the first scenes is always like, oh my God, my phone doesn't work. What has happened? Oh, I dropped my phone down a sewer. Oh, now we're off and running. But yeah, I'm often in the Pine Barrens where the phone service is spotty at best. It was spotty today. But that's the easy one. Oh my God, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I got no service. But yeah, I mean, what you can do, I think, in a screenplay is just have antagonist, a villain who just doesn't care. Hey, you film me all you want. I'm gonna kill you. Then you can just move forward with that. But anyhow, number 7, A Working Man. This was number 2, and sadly it's been pounded down all the way down to 7 at 3 million. This is the 3rd week, and it's doing okay, I guess. What was the budget on this thing? Did 33 million and 26 overseas. 40 million production. I mean, that's not bad, I guess. So you're about 19 million over the production budget. I mean, technically you need 80. Will it get to 80? Maybe just barely. 21 million? It might make it. Next week will be about $1 million. And then after that, maybe you got another 2 weeks. During the week, maybe might make it. Probably not. They're already dropping it out of theaters, which is a shame. I was kind of rooting for this movie, but then I heard they changed it from the book, and now I'm kind of Now I can wait for it on streaming. Good luck, good going, Chuck Dixon. I hope they still, make it as a franchise. I don't see why not. Jason Statham in movies are, pretty much the same. I think I couldn't tell you why this movie didn't do well, or better. I'll say it didn't do poorly. I just wish it had done. I wish it had done more gangbusters. I think part of the audience is probably seeing Minecraft. And I think part of the audience can just wait for these movies. I don't know why they changed it, but I think they had to change partly because I think Indie Phantom will wait to stream any Statham, not theatrical for me. Yeah, it's kind of the same. But I think Levon, the main character in this, is not... I don't think he's English in the books, I'm guessing. I think they, adjusted it for Statham so he could be the lead guy. But generally, I like his stuff. Was it you who was telling me The Beekeeper was watchable? I gotta probably catch that on streaming. Number 8, drop it from 4, Snow White. How this thing made 2.8 million, I'll never know. 2.8 million. How's this thing making anything over 10 cents at this point? We're in our 3rd week here, and it's still making 2.8 million. This is how much people care about movies. They just tune out. Indie Phantom, did Minecraft have a big hold? Decent. I mean, it's at 50%, and it's at another 80.6 million. That's not bad. So it did almost exactly half of last week. I don't think it's going to make it to $1 billion, though. I mean, unless it does 80 million next week. It's not doing quite as well overseas, which is weird. I would think this movie would do gangbusters in Asia. Asian audiences tend to like slapstick, and this looks very slapsticky. But the problem is, I don't think you were here when I was saying this. The problem is the audience drops off on the weekdays. And my theory is it's because most of them are underage. They're boys and they're in school and they can't normally get to the theater on their own. So, and their parents most parents aren't going to drive you to a theater in the middle of the week just to see a movie. They're definitely not going to the matinee because they're in school. I guess if you got right out of school and went to the movies, you might catch the last one. But Indie Phantom, 2.5 out of 5 for Beekeeper, misses a lot of opportunities to bring bees into the story, which was dumb. Are there villains walking around going, "Oh, it's a good thing there's no bees in here. I'm highly allergic." And that like never comes up again. That would be that would be pretty funny. It's called The Beekeeper, and the villains keep mentioning how much they're afraid of bees, and the bees just never show up. But I can't believe for the life of me that Disney Snow White, after all the horrible, horrible press, still somehow pulls in 2.8 million. How? Who the hell's seeing this in the third week? Who the hell hasn't gotten the message? Who hasn't heard about Rachel Zegler? Like, I get it if you don't follow this stuff, but if you start going to the movies and the people who want to see Snow White, again, it's fans who talk to each other. Your circle of friends talk to each other. So if you had a friend who just like, "Oh, I'm going to see Snow White. I'm going to see Snow White." Who wouldn't? The one movie buff in their circle would have to say, "Oh, I heard it's terrible," and then they'd be off and running, looking online to see why, to at least get an idea. And some people would say, "I don't care. I'm going anyway." But I think some people would read the write-up and go, maybe I'll wait for streaming. Indie Phantom, Rachel Zegler must be repeat viewing. Could it be? I guess. There's still enough theater majors around, apparently, and they love going to the damn movies. Even the critics say her singing's good, so maybe it's just people who really like the singing and they don't care about the movie, but man, I can't imagine it. Number 9, dropping from 5, is Woman in the Yard, 2.1 million. This didn't get great reviews either, so I'm kind of surprised this didn't drop off a cliff, but it's still sort of hanging in there. I mean, that's not bad for the third week. 2.1 million for a horror movie. I think this thing made its money back. Snow White, of course, did not. Yeah, so looks like it made its budget. Oh no, that's not the budget. Sorry, that's the box office. It made 21 million worldwide. It probably did make its budget and then some. So I'd be surprised if that movie cost more than 10 million. I mean, it was shot on a farm. I don't think there's that many characters in it, so half of it's outside. I don't think there's a lot of big effects. 10 million seems more than adequate to shoot a movie like that. So I would say that's probably a win. Number 11 is The Friend. This is that Bill Murray movie where he's dead and leaves his dog to Naomi Watts. This did not do well at all. 3.1 million. Phew. That is not good. Put Bill Murray on the movie poster and everything. I can't imagine this thing costs less than 3 million, even though they shot it in the city and it's mostly Naomi Watts. I mean, Bill Murray had to make some bank. I mean, you can't get Bill Murray for nothing, can you? Does he have boat payments? Come on. It's Bill Murray. Maybe he's doing a friend a solid, but kind of doubt it. He's in a lot of movies recently that I'm not too thrilled about. This one and Riff Raff. They don't quite look right for him. But maybe he just, like, I get the impression that, celebrities come in. Indie Phantom. Murray was in that Riff Raff flick that bombed too. Is it gone already? I wasn't. Did that come out? Did that come out? Let me see. I guess it did. Yeah, it's got ratings. Indie Phantom, is Murray still box office? Kids still even recognize him? I don't know. I mean, you'd think But he hasn't. What was his last hit? What was his last? I think he's in the new Wes Anderson flick, because he's always in that now. But that, I don't know. I mean, that could go either way. The new one looks better than Asteroid City, but kind of hard to tell. I don't even think he was in the trailer for that one. Indie Phantom. Yeah, it is VOD for a couple of weeks already. Wow. That movie must have sucked. There's a lot of names in that, too. Jennifer Coolidge, who's pretty blowing up right now because she was in White Lotus. And a lot of people were watching that. Ed Harris, who's still kind of a name. Pete Davidson, he's got a fan base. Bill Murray, how did that movie not do better? It must have been horrific. Indie Phantom, these damn Ghostbusters reboots kind of missed too. Well, yeah. Yeah, I kind of predicted that in Hollywoke, another novel. I had various parodies of certain movies and celebrities and people in the industry, and one of them was Bill Murray. And I was doing sort of a parody of Ghostbusters, and, you know, I called him William Murray or something like that. No, what did I call him? I call him Murray Williams. Murray Williams. So I reversed his name. Haha, I'm so clever. So it was supposed to be my version of Ghostbusters, and then, you know, it wasn't really about the plot or anything. It was about the movie industry. So in the story, at first, this movie exec who wants comedies to do well seemingly saves their version of Ghostbusters by getting the Bill Murray character back on the film because he's upset because it's bad and everybody's woke. And then but he ends up getting S-canned by the studio, and there's pushback from the woke studio exec who's supposed to be like Kathleen Kennedy. And so the movie comes out, but it ends up being sort of like a wash because it, on the one hand, they managed to get a lot of the wokeness out, but on the other hand, there was pushback to put it back in, and then, you know, the edit screws it all up, and so it comes out to lukewarm response, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen, and it sort of did. But that's par for the course today in comedy. Unfortunately, very few guys are going for the jugular. About the only guy, well, there's a handful of guys, I would say, who are very funny right now. One of my favorites is Kyle Dunningham. He's very funny. And man, he's been going on the Kill Tony podcast, and he's been very good on that. And the guy who hosts Kill Tony's been great too. Indie Phantom, I watched Alto Nights. Oh no, with Double De Niro. Fall asleep 3 times. Felt like I aged 33 years. Made for retirement homes. Jesus, I can't believe it was the writer of Goodfellas and Casino. That's unbelievable, but I'm kind of not surprised. That's what it looked like, man. It did not look good. I mean, to me, it looked hilarious that Robert De Niro thought it would be a good idea that he played 2 roles, because he, you know, even though he was always like the actor's critically acclaimed Robert De Niro for many years, he was always the same guy. Except, you know, slightly different. Like, you know, in Midnight Run, he's not a mobster, but he's kind of close to a mobster. He's a bounty hunter. And kind of a tough guy. He's not a criminal, but he kind of sounds the same, does the same shtick. So he's always playing a guy that's sort of criminal, but his arc from critically acclaimed to I'll do anything for a paycheck is like, that's where we're at, it seems to me. And Alto Nights, that I mean, it is the height of ego that he thought he could play 2 roles against himself and that wouldn't look totally ridiculous. I'm half tempted to watch it just to see a few scenes, but there's no way I'm paying for it. So I'll wait for streaming. But Indie Phantom, Midnight Run was a good time. Grodin was fun. Yeah. Yeah. And he played good off of Robert De Niro. But I don't know. Maybe his ego finally got the better of him. I think that happens to a lot of these guys as they get older. They had too many bad experiences. You know, towards the end with Bruce Willis, before he, had to retire, there were a lot of rumors about him. But looking back on it, you could almost write that off as, well, maybe he was starting to lose it and he didn't know, and he was snapping at people because he thought they were correcting him when he didn't need to be corrected. But Indie Phantom, yeah, I watched it for free, of course. But like Robert De Niro, man, he's still got all his marbles, and he just makes, I think he's, it's partly just, even before he went woke and got Trump derangement syndrome, he was going off the reservation. Righteous Kill is like an incredibly boring film, in my opinion, and it's mostly on De Niro. The only bright light in that movie is Al Pacino. He's good in it. Indie Phantom, every single mob hit was telegraphed so dramatically. Yeah, like Al Pacino's decent in Righteous Kill. It's a terrible movie. It's not even a good premise. There's a big twist and it just doesn't come off. But like Al Pacino has energy. Robert De Niro's just doing his same thing. And you just wonder, what? Indie Phantom, this has to be De Niro's gangster swan song. I hope at this point, short of playing the guy who dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie, like the gangster on his deathbed, he should just retire at this point. Now he's got guys bothering him at premieres and stuff. That Trump imitator was bothering him. But yeah, I hate when he does comedies now. I mean, the Midnight Run was the exception, but like, how was it? Bad Grandpa? Or I forget. There's some movie with the grandpa in the title. God, that looked horrific. Indie Phantom, I remember Righteous Kill being not memorable. Yeah, I just thought it was terrible. I just remember sitting in it going, oh, is this thing over? Like, as soon as you start doing that, you're watching a terrible movie. Like, you start looking at the clock and just wondering, when's this over? I got other things to do. That is a huge red flag. But Indie Phantom, Dirty Grandpa. Yeah. God, I just thought, why is he in this movie? I mean, Meet the Fockers. I was like, okay, he could still have some amount of dignity and still kind of be in a comedy, I guess. I didn't think it was very good, but oh, Zebek's Demise is here. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. But Dirty Grandpa was just like, what? What are you doing, man? This is not for you. Not for Robert De Niro. To me, he should be if he's in a comedy, he should be the stiff. He should be the one that everybody, plays pranks on. And he gets way too mad. Indie Phantom says hello, Zebek's Demise. But, where were we on the list here? Okay. We're on number 10, premiering Good, Bad, Ugly. Not sure what the hell this is. Good, Bad, Ugly. Oh, this is a Bollywood thing. Let's read the summary. Oh, no summary. Wish I had more info on some of the Bollywood stuff, especially the stuff that comes here. I don't know why the numbers won't crunch it or has it, but they just don't. Can't seem to find it anywhere. Maybe India is holding their numbers tight to the vest, but they usually announce this stuff. Zebek's Demise toasts you, Indie Phantom. So it's a bit empty today, Zebek, but so feel free to speak up, because I don't know where everybody is this week. Everybody's still hung over from the drinking game last week. The Friend. Didn't I do this one already? Number 11 is The Friend. That's a Bill Murray movie. I thought I already talked about this. I think I did. That's what we got off on a tangent. Okay. I must have skipped Good, Bad, Ugly. Zevix. LOL. Number 12, The Chosen, The Last Supper Part 2. That is really going out. It dropped 91%. So I guess there's just a tight group of people who see all these religious things, and they always see them, but then they're done. Oh, this is the second week. Holy crap, it dropped 91%. Well, it's a Fathom Events thing, so I guess that doesn't matter. It goes from 3 to 12, dropping like a stone. Number 13, dropping from 6, is Death of a Unicorn. Yeah, this isn't doing too well. 12 million. Doesn't even look like it's going to make its budget. Had a budget of 15. I am torn about this movie because on the one, this is done. It's made $500,000. Done in 3 weeks. On the one hand, I really want comedies to start doing better. So we have comedies again, but this didn't look that great. It looked like it could be good, but yeah, it didn't look great. Storebang is here. They went to Betson's. I'm not sure. They went to Betson's. Indie Phantom. Multiple episodes of a TV show from Fathom and a Bollywood flick nobody heard of in the top 10. Good job, Tinseltown. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a death march of movies. I mean, and these movies, these plots, some of them are okay, but God, they're not exciting, you know? I saw Zodiac, and you may have saw my video on it. I'm going to be talking about it on the American Werewolf podcast on Wednesday if you want to tune in. And Zodiac's from 2007, and I'm watching that movie, and I wasn't super... I had never seen it. I just sort of skipped it. I didn't really want to know about the Zodiac killer or whatever at the time. And I saw it, and immediately I start watching it going, oh my God, this is a real movie. I forgot what real movies were like for a while. It was so good. Zodiac is so good. But I don't know if it's super good because I just haven't seen a decent flick in a while, or just the times, and everybody's in that effing movie, right? You got Robert Downey Jr. He's not even the main guy, and he almost steals the whole thing. You almost want to follow his character, but they're doing a historical thing, so he's playing a guy who sort of bows out after a while. Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, who I can't stand anymore. He's amazing in it. He's absolutely amazing. I didn't think I would like the movie because it's 2.5 hours long, and I was like, uh-oh. But Fincher, who directed the thing, the pacing is on point. It goes from one event after the next. There's no fat in this movie, hardly at all. About the only fat is in the beginning. He restages some of the more famous murders of the Zodiac, which I thought was a little unnecessary, but in the context of the movie later, I thought, no, I guess we had to see them. Storebang, thought you would get the reference of an old furniture store commercial that played in the greater Delaware Valley region where a guy would say, hey, where did everybody go? Oh, okay. I did remember the commercial. I didn't understand what you meant in terms of the reference. Now I get it. Yeah, because nobody's here. They've gone to Betson's. That's right. Yeah, so Zodiac was... Man, it was good. Super good. Well-paced. even though I knew the ending, sort of, and even had, I really thought, man, how are they going to make a satisfying ending with this thing? Because they never catch the Zodiac killer, but they did. I mean, they made a good ending. They didn't catch him. What happened, Joan? What's wrong? Oh my God, Joan's having a time. Come, show everybody your cute face. Okay, there you go. So it's really a good film, but it's from 2007, and everything in it is good. The pacing, the acting, every beat of that is dramatic. There's a reason to be watching the scene. You watch movies now, half the scenes are like, I guess I'll sit through this. And then you get to the end of it and go, oh, thank God, here's some information I actually want to hear about. In Zodiac, I actually wanted to hear all the information. I actually wanted to know what happened to all these people because it was compelling. And it's night and day. It's night and day. And so I come to understand the old timers back in the 80s who used to say, movies today, they weren't like the movies when I was a lad. And I'd just be like, you just don't like color or whatever. And now I get it. That movie was like good. It was just like night and day. Night and day. Indie Phantom. Zodiac was awesome. I never did watch the longer director's cut. Well, it's on Pluto TV for free if you want to watch it. And there were no commercials. Just watched the whole thing straight through. I was like, this is great. So, and then when you see Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Jake Gyllenhaal, Brian Cox is in it. Not for a long period of time. All these people, even the Chloe Venin, I don't know how to say her last name. Some of the side character actors who you'll recognize. You just think to yourself, why can't they make a halfway decent movie anymore? All these people were in this. Fincher is still around. They're all still around. What the F is the problem? Make a friggin' movie that is watchable, please. Just make something. Jesus. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated to do a movie like Zodiac, a movie about a serial killer. It couldn't be easier to write. Couldn't be easier. It had really cool subtext because it was like Zodiac's spree impacted everyone, even the people trying to find him and hurt them in some small or larger way. So the main character, spoilers, I don't want to say. If you haven't seen it, you go see it. But the main character is impacted by that, I'll say. But again, if you want to see a group discussion about that, that'll be Wednesday on the American Werewolf podcast. But, God, and none of these movies, I don't think any of them would hold a candle to Zodiac. About the only thing that I feel is sort of honest on this list is probably the Minecraft movie. I kind of want to go see it now because I see the reaction of the audience and I go, these guys really like it. They genuinely love the movie. Now, I don't play Minecraft, so I probably wouldn't get a bunch of the jokes, but I kind of want to see it just to check it out and see what it's all about. But even like A Working Man, which I was rooting for, The Amateur, which looks decent, I could wait until streaming. Indie Phantom. Hollywood played itself with superheroes, remakes, and streaming of low-quality shite. Yeah, they really have. And it's kind of like they're too exhausted to make a halfway decent movie. I think they fired a lot of people. I genuinely think part of the reason we can't get a decent comedy is they fired most of the comedy writers. Indie Phantom, Minecraft audience seems kind of annoying. I know, but it seems genuine. And that is attractive from a fan perspective. Like, they're having a good time. I want to have that good time in a movie, right? I want to be so excited about a movie, I start throwing popcorn and cheering, right? And they seem like they're doing that. But I probably wouldn't. I'd probably go in there and watch it and go, I don't know, why did I come here? But at least maybe there's some honesty to it. You know, like The Friend with Bill Murray, it just seems like dull and boring and like a snooze fest. Death of a Unicorn is trying way too hard to be funny, I think. Kind of like a theater kid version of funny. Indie Phantom sounds like a Tony date night extravaganza. Unfortunately, the girlfriend has put the kibosh on going to see Minecraft. She already announced, I am not going to see that movie with you. I said, come on. I dragged her to see Am I Racist? And she hated it. Indie Phantom, I would like to have Naomi Watts as a friend. She's cute. She's definitely cute. Number 14 is Hell of a Summer, dropping from 8. This just looked like your standard slasher movie. Whoa, it dropped 75% though. It's number 2. Guess slasher movies are out. I mean, eventually the well runs dry, Hollywood. I mean, Jesus, it's a slasher movie set in a summer camp? How many times can you do it? 75%. Number 15 is The Ballad of Wallace Islands. This another one looked like a total snooze fest, but they started it out in a handful of theaters and they're bumping it back the other way. So it's in its third week. It's made $400K, but it hasn't even cracked $1 million. Number 16 is Captain America, dropping from 10. When will this be gone? And I did a video about Marvel, ranting about Marvel. Indie Phantom, slasher movies burn out fast, front loaded. Yeah, this one certainly did. But Captain America, MCU is so done. Zebek's Demise, we can try and do it every year since Friday the 13th. Yeah, but like, it's almost like the moment Friday the 13th comes back or a slasher movie does well, there's like 10 of them out. I never liked them. I never even liked Friday the 13th. But I think they're still trying to do a Friday the 13th TV show prequel about Jason's mother. I don't know why you would do that. It sounds like mind-blowingly dumb. But I guess somebody took that gig. Here's another comedy that apparently is doing terribly. Sacramento from Vertical Entertainment. This is Kristen Stewart and Michael Cera as a married couple. And Sarah's friend drags him on a road trip. I think. So Kristen Stewart, who's pregnant, encourages him to go on the road trip, and I don't know. It's like a buddy movie, but it kind of looks like not great. Indie Phantom, they are already gearing up for underperforming Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. Yeah, I mean they both look like train wrecks. Fantastic Four looks like nothing. I think that's the one they're really pinning their hopes on. I think Thunderbolts, they've already kind of abandoned it. They've promoted the hell out of that. I've seen so many commercials for the Thunderbolts. I don't watch TV anymore, but I just catch it on other people's TV. That's how many commercials they must be throwing at this thing just to get people to go see it. Indie Phantom Sacramento is on VOD. I downloaded it but decided it looked too crap. Yeah, it looked like it could be mildly entertaining, but not much. I mean, at least Michael Cera's kind of back in his lane. But yeah, I did a whole rant on Thunderbolts and the MCU. It just looks like they're in a complete nosedive. I can't imagine Thunderbolts is going to do well, although it might break even because maybe the last few holdouts of the MCU fan base will go see it, and maybe it's not awful, and then it'll limp to sort of a break even. But the Fantastic Four, Jesus, I've never seen an MCU movie with more going against it, other than the Marvels. You got Pedro Pascal and a stupid effing mustache. That right there, I mean, every fan of the Fantastic Four comic, they're out. He couldn't shave his mustache for the damn role. So they're pinning their hopes, in my view, on one thing: girls. The girls will go see the Fantastic Four because Pedro Pascal is in it, because Sue Storm's going to be the girl boss, and they're hoping they'll all come in for that. I don't know why they would. I don't know a single woman in my life who says, I love comics and I love the Fantastic Four. I don't know anybody like that. I've met a few fangirls in my time, and they usually liked one or two comics, but they couldn't, even the ones who said that, I never got the impression they really like comics as much as some of the guys who like them. And that's not a slam against women. I just don't think they like comics. Superhero comics, anyway. The kind of comics they go nut for. Barbie was a comic from Marvel. It did very well. It did very, very well. And little girls would line up around the block for it to see the artist or the inker or whoever I saw at a convention once. Indie Phantom, these movies have a slight chance because there's nothing much out there. Yes, and that's the other thing. They'd probably both hit number one for a week if there's nothing up against it. But you're talking this summer. There's gotta be something else against Fantastic Four. But you know what? Let's see. Coming soon, IMDb. That's what I want. It's got to be something up against. Let's see. So Thunderbolts comes out May 2nd. So Rust. Okay, Rust isn't going to beat Thunderbolts. The Surfer with Nicolas Cage. That's got a little overlap. Elektra. It's not Marvel's Elektra. The Last Battleship. That's some overlap right there. But I don't think that'll get wide release. Shadow Force. That ain't getting wide release. Words of War. Swamp Dog gets his pool painted. I don't know what the hell that is. And Bonjour Trististe. So it's up against nothing the first week. Rust, yeah. I know. Indie Phantom is laughing at Rust. So the first week, it's basically open against nothing. Then next week, you got Fight or Flight, which looks okay. That's a Josh Hartnett movie. Clown in a Cornfield, which looks awful. It's comedy horror, but it didn't really make it. It didn't look like a comedy to me, but maybe. Friendship, which is a comedy. That doesn't look bad. Juliet and Romeo, and you can forget about the girls in any other movie. The only audience for that Juliet and Romeo, which is literally the worst trailer I think I've ever seen. It's an abomination against Shakespeare. It is a pop musical of Romeo and Juliet, and Rebel Wilson's in it. I mean, it's got everything. It's awful. It just looks awful. Lily, The Lightning Code, P31, Tom Dustin, Portrait of a Comedian, and So Torn. I don't know what that is. But I gotta think, once word leaks out about Thunderbolts, and if it's not that good, and I strongly suspect it's like meh, people just won't even go see it. Will they go see this stuff? No, I don't think so. Maybe Fight or Flight, just because it looks like a halfway decent actioner, and that would draw away some of the guys. Also, the comedy movie would. So you're left with the women, and I bet most of them go see Juliet and Romeo and Lily instead of Thunderbolts. Because, again, it looks like girl boss BS. Now, you have Thunderbolts come out. It's probably not going to do well. It's probably going to piss off the comic book fans yet again. And another 10,000 of them will vow, that's it, I'm done with the MCU. I'm done with comics. I'm done with all this S. And they're going to storm out of the movie theater vowing not to give you another chance, Disney. And I wouldn't blame them, because I suspect it's crap. Indie Phantom, hearing weird things about Superman. Trouble behind the scenes. The reason there's no dialogue in the trailer is partially because they are still playing with the cut after test screenings. Yeah, I've heard mixed things too. Not sure why, but I think that'll be pretty watchable. So, that's your May, right? If you're a MCU fan, that's your May. You probably see Thunderbolts, and at best, you probably come out going, well, it wasn't the worst one. So, then a few months go by, right? We get into the summer. Where is it? June. So, the end of June, Mithrigan opens, which is going to open big. That'll be a big movie. Because people like the first movie. The second movie looks kind of like a different movie. It might piss people off, but I think generally people will like it. If you like the Mithrigan. I don't know, it's a weird movie to me. But that's going to be big. And Jurassic World Rebirth, July 2nd. So that's July 4th weekend. That's going to be big. For anybody who's still watching movies, they're going to go see this. I hate Jurassic Park with a burning passion. But Scarlett Jo is in it. And I do like her. But I don't think she's going to be naked in it. And I've heard really weird rumors about this movie. The weirdest one was that Scarlett Johansson turns into a dinosaur hybrid during the course of the movie. If that's true, this movie is going to tank like no other, but I can't imagine it's true. Indie Phantom, when is Joker 3 coming? Well, when you get to hell, you'll get that answer, because they're probably showing it nonstop down there. So then Superman comes out July 11th. So I think this will be okay, at least. I think the floor is okay. If things go well, I think it'll be pretty good. Might even be a hit. But we don't know. James Gunn is usually pretty good with this stuff. Indie Phantom, what the F? That ScarJo rumor is whack. I know. I think it's just a rumor, though. Could they be that insane? Could they be that insane that ScarJo turns into a dinosaur halfway? And they don't reveal it until halfway through the movie, is the rumor. So I can't imagine people watching that going, what the F did I just watch? Like, the only thing I want to see her turn into is naked. But that's not going to happen. So she's going to girl boss that movie right out of the theater. Which will be good, because then Superman has a chance. But I don't know. The problem with Superman is, well, there's a few problems, right? So the first problem is they just keep doing Superman, right? They've done it a million times. Zebek's Demise, I can't believe they are that insane. I can't either. I mean, that just seems too insane, even for them. But never say never. Indie Phantom, Superman will open well, but it's not going to be okay. Will it really do any better than Super Returns, for example? I think it will. Super Returns was kind of a downer of a movie. It wasn't fun. I think Superman will be fun. It looks fun to me. I like Crypto. I think people will like the dog. That's the quickest way, screenwriters, to make your character likable. Give him a dog and everybody likes him. Everybody. It's impossible to dislike a character who has a dog, I think. There's some hope if he's got a dog. And Superman with a dog, that's like Superman times 2. But the question is the movie just going to be a ridiculous movie for kids, right? So it's got the dog in it, it's got a bunch of other silly scenes, and then, adults say, that was fun for the kids, but not for me. I don't know. I think it'll do better than Soup Returns because, it's just going to be fun. The thing that might tank it might be the other characters like Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl. Like, those characters aren't well known. I don't know how much screen time James Gunn's going to give them, but we'll see. Indie Phantom, the story is apparently very episodic. That could be good, but it could also be a disaster. It could be like, what's his name? Kevin Costner's Horizon, which, holy cow, just like watching it going, whoa. This is the 15th first act. When does this movie start? When is this movie going to be over? And then it was over, and I was just like, holy crap. I've been here for 3 hours. So it's possible that the Superman movie just kills. But Indie Phantom, some say there's a lot of crypto, and some say it's just one sequence. Good news that is under 2 hours. Yes, that to me is very appealing. I think if it works, it gets good buzz. Indie Phantom, good news is that it's under 2 hours. I read that. But Gunn has crammed a dozen other chain there. We'll see. The other problem, too, is Superman's side characters, other than Lois and Jimmy and a few others, but Gunn has crammed a dozen other characters in there. Yeah, that to me is a problem because those characters aren't as well known. Guy Gardner is known to the comic fans. They love him, and we've been waiting for a good Guy Gardner for a long time, but I don't think the general public knows who he is. Same thing with Hawkgirl, and there's a couple others like Bizarro. They kind of know Bizarro, but he's not a great character. I think Brainiac's in it. I think they kind of know Brainiac, but not really. The only one they know is Lex Luthor. It's Lex Luthor and Superman. It's just the bottom line. With Marvel, they know more of the characters and the villains. It's a better rogues gallery. Superman never had a strong rogues gallery. It was always, Lex Luthor and everybody else. And, but I'm rooting for the movie. Indie Phantom, Jimmy Olsen has a love interest subplot rumored to be cut. Thank God. So, on July 11th, that comes out. Now, let's say it's hot. Like, it hits, everybody goes to see it, it's the summer, it's the weekend after the 4th of July, everybody's seeing it. It could be that it gets undercut by Jurassic Park Rebirth, right? That could be the big hit of the summer. Everybody's going to see that, and kind of nobody's going to see Superman. It kind of gets steamrolled by Jurassic Park. Or the opposite could happen. Jurassic Park Rebirth could be a complete and utter disaster, and people are like, "Oh, let me go see Superman. That'll be at least I know Superman." If that weird hybrid thing happens. So the best case scenario, Superman does super well, and it restarts the franchise. However, it could be people are still burned out on superheroes and they just don't go. But either way you slice it, it kind of spells doom, I think, for the Fantastic Four. Because if Superman does well, then they already saw a superhero movie. They're going to see another one 2 weeks later? Maybe. But kind of not. Now, if it does poorly, it could be a sign like, yeah, I saw Superman. That sucked. I'm not going to see the Fantastic Four. That looks even worse. So kind of a lose-lose situation for Disney 2 weeks after Superman premiere. Again, all the comic fans are out, man. Pedro Pascal's mustache, Sue Storm girl bossing around, and gender politics. That's been an article. Johnny Storm's not going to be a girl chasing suave dude anymore. He's going to be more kind, was the article. They're getting rid of they're going to replace Silver Surfer with his wife. I mean, I can't think of any more worst scenarios. Okay, you're going to give us Galactus, but you're taking out the Silver Surfer, you morons. Half the audience would have come just to see him. Not happening. You get to see him, and he either dies or he's out for the rest of the film. And we get to see his wife. Oh, don't you want to see the wife of a character? You don't want to see Mrs. Silver Surfer? Oh, what's the matter? Don't you like strong, empowered woman in every effing scene of your movie? Oh, we got a strong, empowered woman. Oh, here's another strong, empowered woman. Oh, there's more strong, empowered women attacking. Oh, I guess we better call some more strong, empowered women. Shut up, Hollywood. You morons. I hope this movie, and quite frankly, I'm not rooting for this movie. I'm rooting for Superman. I want Superman to do well. I want the Fantastic Four to do so poorly. Rachel Zegler laughs at these people. I want the Fantastic Four to destroy Pedro Pascal's career because I'm sick of seeing his face. I'm sick of seeing his face. And they also got The Thing doing a cooking show with the robot Herbie. So, who is this movie for? I don't know. I'm going to say it. Girls. They made a Fantastic Four for girls. Girls don't want to see the Fantastic Four. The week before is Smurfs. That also sounds like a girl boss movie. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. That sounds more like a date movie. But I don't think those two movies... Well, maybe the Smurfs might draw a little bit away. And then next week you got The Naked Gun, which actually looks funny. If even if the Fantastic Four does well the first week, it'll be dead the next week. Oh, it'll be deader than disco. Indie Phantom heard Thing is gay, not even kidding. Really? If he's gay, Jesus, I think there'll be a riot. You made The Thing gay. Oh my God. You people are determined to destroy it. And that would complete the epic travel of the Fantastic Four into never getting a good Fantastic Four movie. It never should have been a movie anyway. If anything should have been on Disney Plus as an episodic TV show, it should have been the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four would have made a great TV show if done like the comic. If they had started with that first, you could have led into all kinds of other movies, and you could have designed it in such a way that you could have kept the cast around. You could have made them relatively unknowns, but Disney, I don't think they know what they're doing anymore. Maybe they're just destroying the IP on the way out, Bob Iger, so that the Chinese can come in and buy Disney. That's my theory. My theory is they're trying to destroy the Disney brand so that Chinese could buy it. And then they'll take it to China and make their own versions of things. And it'll be like a victory for them culturally, because it'll be like all these characters will now be owned by China. But I don't think they're going to make it. I honestly think all they're doing is they're destroying Disney to the point at which it's just going to collapse as a company. And I think other U.S. companies will buy it. Maybe Apple. There was rumors Apple will buy it. Oh, here's Ardent. What in the name of God's great galloping galactic golden galvanized gonads is going on here? Sorry I'm late. I was talking to a friend going through a nasty divorce. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. I wouldn't wish divorce on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish divorce on the people who made Fantastic Four. It's awful. I feel bad for your friend. I hope he gets through it. Tell him it's all about time. Tell him to give himself a lot of time. And eventually you just go, what the hell am I doing? And you pull your life back together. It just takes a while, though. It sucks. So yeah, even if Fantastic Four does well, I gotta think the Naked Gun would knock it right off the map. Now, Naked Gun's a comedy. Oh, and The Bad Guys 2. Oh, it's dead. It's dead. The Bad Guys 2. Any girl that went to go see the Fantastic Four First Steps will definitely be there for The Bad Guys 2 next week. Because it's not Disney, but it's like a Disney movie. It's got cute animals in it. Ardent, not even Pedro? And yeah, I said as much. I want to see Pedro Pascal's career be done. Over. It's over now. He's not on the A-list anymore. Fantastic Four just tanked. That's what I want to say. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of his shtick. They keep putting him in things just because he's an A-lister. I don't know why. Pick somebody new. Hollywood. I'm sick of him. If he won't even shave off his mustache for this role, it would have helped him, because he would have looked different. And so if this movie tanked, he could grow the mustache back and go right back to what he was doing. If the movie did well, he would look different in a role that requires no mustache. Reed Richards doesn't have a mustache. He is a nerd, a total nerd. He doesn't care about mustaches. He doesn't. He's not a vain man. He is a super scientist. Ardent, The Bad Guys, I enjoyed that. Well, it's Sam Rockwell. I'm not surprised. Although Mark Maron's in it. Craig Robertson, he's funny. So, yeah, I think the Fantastic Four is kind of doomed. So, it's likely, I would say, my prediction is the Thunderbolts doesn't do well. It doesn't totally tank, but it could, but it kind of just goes, meh. And then the Fantastic Four might open strong, but even if it does, it's dead on the second week. It drops by like 60. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But that's what I'm biased. I'm very biased against Disney. I reluctantly went to watch the MCU when it was good. I was very suspicious then. But eventually I got on board and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. First phase 2 of Marvel, it was like, okay, I can watch these movies. They're not bad. Now I'm back to the old me. Screw these people. I hope they lose all their money, and I hope they go out of business. Again, one day, the Magic Kingdom, they'll take down the Disney sign, and they'll put up somebody else. I could see Universal buying it. They can just have one giant park down in Florida. Warner Brothers, if they ever get their act together, but they seem to be going exactly down the path of Disney, 5 to 10 years later. Like again, DC Comics. DC Comics, I always said, does everything popular from 10 years ago. So it may be too little too late for Superman, but I think either way, it's either setting it up that, I already saw a superhero movie. I don't want to see the Fantastic Four. Superman was pretty good, but I don't know who the Fantastic Four is. Or they see it and go, God, that was terrible. I'm definitely not seeing the Fantastic Four. I don't even know who those guys are. So I think it's a lose-lose for Disney. So, but they got nothing up against it. I don't know how Disney keeps doing that. Is Disney secretly controlling the movie industry? I suspect so. Maybe behind the scenes, their distribution network is so powerful they can force other movies off their week. Because look at it, nothing's coming out on July 25th other than the Fantastic Four. But that should be July 4th weekend. That would be the primo spot. And that is being reserved for Jurassic World. So, all right, let's move on. If you want to hear me rant about Disney, go watch my video. All right, so we did Sacramento. Black Bag drops to like 17. It didn't look good. It's Michael Fassbender as a spy in its 5th week going out. The Chosen Last Supper Part 1. I mean, it's still on the list, but it's in its 3rd week. It's way down here. A Nice Indian Boy. I believe this is a movie about a gay couple. Yeah. So it's I know the actor. I can't think of his name, but it's like a gay Indian guy who brings his boyfriend home. It's an art house thing, I think. Ardent. It's all a lie. The movie industry is built on mice. Mice, I tell you. Mice all the way down. The Penguin Lessons. That's Steve Coogan's movie. Steve Coogan should be in another comedy, but he's doing the Penguin Lessons. It looks nice enough, but I wouldn't go see it. It looks maybe for kids. Dogman still in theaters in its 11th week. The Monkey still farting around in 50 theaters. The Teacher in 1 theater. What the hell is this movie? The Teacher. A Palestinian school teacher struggles to reconcile his risky commitment to political resistance with his emotional support for one of his students and the chance of a new relationship with a volunteer worker. Okay, not sure how they even shot that movie. Things are not going well there. Misericordia, that French film, still kicking around for 17K. When Fall is Coming, 15K. Ethos, 11K. Mufasa the Lion King, 8K. Jesus, let it die. A Complete Unknown, still in 10 theaters, 4K. 149 million. That's not bad. It's not great for this time of year. I mean, this is April. Should be kicking it up a little more, but I mean, Minecraft's over half the box office. So, all right. Let's move on. It's just every week it's just like there's no good news, there's no good movies. It's just charting the demise of the movie industry. At least if they were touting the movies that looked halfway decent. Indie Phantom, what a troubled box office. Yeah. Like, I don't know, if they championed out of this list, what would be the best movie on it? I mean, I guess you could say Minecraft, simply because the audience loves this movie. But instead of championing it and trying to get other people to see it, they're saying like, well, there's something weird about this movie. Like they're doing articles about people wrecking the theater seeing it. And they're not wrecking the theater. They're throwing popcorn and cheering, but that's not wrecking the theater. Have you been in a theater? There's popcorn all over the place. But you think they would say, oh, it's a hit. You should probably go see it. Instead, they're like, why is Minecraft a hit? I don't know, because it's probably the only honest movie on this list. You changed A Working Man from the book. The religious movies don't really count. The Amateur looks fine. The Drop should have been a male lead. You got a bunch of comedies here, but they're kind of lukewarm. You got a bunch of MCU stuff that didn't do well, or Snow White. I mean, come on. Where's the risk? You got 3 Bill Murray movies here, and none of them are doing good. What are you doing? What are you doing? All right, let's go to Variety. Minecraft, again, in the mix. And all Variety wants to talk about is The White Lotus and Saturday Night Live. Okay. Nicky Katt, actor in Boston Public and Dazed and Confused, has died at 54. That is too young, said the 59-year-old. What did he die of? I think he died of cancer. It doesn't say. Because this is like the later article about him. He was 54. His death was reported by his friends and attorney. Yeah, it doesn't say. I want to say cancer for some reason. Ardent, I think younger folk just don't know who Bill Murray is. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of people do. Indie Phantom, Jesus, same age as me. Oh, you're saying like exclamation. Jesus, same age as me. Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't say. I want to say I read a different article where he had some kind of cancer, but I'm not sure if it was him. I seem to read articles like that every week now. Bernie Sanders introduced Claro? I don't know who that is, during Coachella performance. Whoever Claro is.
Ladies and gentlemen, before Claro comes out, I would just like to tell you all about communism and how good it is. Now, we should go after the billionaires. Now, some millionaires, like me, are good. You know, I have 3 houses, and I'm a communist. But I am a good one.
Ardent, I'll be 49 on Wednesday. It's a weird thing seeing people die so close to my age. Yeah. Indie Phantom actually turned 55 this month. Oh, happy early birthday. Ardent, enjoy your colonoscopy next year. Ardent, LOL, Mickey Rourke is still being a total badass on that reality show. No F's given at all. Yeah, he must need cash if he's going on a reality show, but cool. But Bernie Sanders, God, when is this grifter going to retire? Never, I guess. I mean, this is a guy, he's a communist. Come on. You don't honeymoon in Soviet Russia and not be a communist. Ardent says, happy birthday. Ardent, gee, thanks, Tony. I'm just telling you, it has to happen. You live in Canada. You should schedule it now. You know, because it's going to take you 10 years just to get to see a doctor. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is the worst, man. He's the absolute worst. Oh, yeah, here's Mickey Rourke leaving Celebrity Big Brother of the UK. So he's in the UK one. Oh, okay. He has agreed to exit Celebrity Big Brother UK following his continued use of offensive language. Oh, no. I'm so upset. How will I ever survive watching Mickey Rourke leave? And it's going to be a big drama. It's going to be a big drama episode where he leaves.
I really liked you, man, but, you know, you used a lot of triggering language, and that's not cool. Yeah, Mickey, we're all going to miss you, bud.
Oh, sorry, they're English. Oh, we're all going to miss you, but your triggering language triggered so many people here. Supporters rally to save the Cinerama Dome as the future of Hollywood theater complex remains uncertain. Why bother to save it? There's nothing good to show on it. But good luck, I guess. A Minecraft movie director says it's weird the cops are being called over cheering and throwing popcorn at rowdy screenings. It's hilarious. So, that's all it is. Ardent. So I'll get it by the time I turn 60. Yeah. They're a bunch of cigarettes. That's Melanie Mac's favorite word. All 5 Breakfast Club actors reunite for the first time in 40 years. I feel really moved we're all together, says Molly Ringwald. Let's take a look at this bunch of old timers. Oh, they don't have a picture? Oh, come on. Oh, there they are. Here they are. Yeah, they look all right. All right, there's Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy. Judd Nelson looks weird with the beard. So there we are. There we all are. Gen Xers. Indie Phantom. Think I would watch that just for Mickey. Thanks, Ardent. Ardent at Indie Phantom. The clips are worth it. Molly Rinklewald? I never thought she was that cute back in the day, but... let's see. Indie Phantom, weird beard. Ardent, Ali Sheedy, that was my Phoebe Cates. Oh, I did like Ali Sheedy. Ali Sheedy was a cutie. Molly Ringwald was just sort of there. Gene Marsh, Emmy winner and Upstairs Downstairs co-creator, dies at 90. Well, that's a pretty good run. Good for you. I mean, shame you died, but made it to 90. That's not bad. So much crap on the White Lotus and SNL. I'm just so sick of reading it. Let's move on. Let's see. Our Fandom Pulse. See what latest crazy headlines are here. Dungeons & Dragons designers Christopher Perkins and Jeremy Crawford retire after destroying the game with the woke agenda. Thanks a lot, guys. Go F yourselves. Fortunately, you don't need the new rules to play Dungeons & Dragons. You just don't need them. 3rd edition, I think, is probably the best. They got it to the point where the skill system makes more sense and you could do other things other than just beat people to death with your sword. So I recommend 3rd edition. It's pretty good. 2nd edition is okay. 1st edition requires a little customizing, but anybody creative can fix Dungeons & Dragons easy. Indie Phantom, neither of those Breakfast Club chicks are hot. I will take Phoebe Cates any day. She was a smoke show. Ardent, D-heads. Yeah. Yeah, imagine coming into Dungeons & Dragons, a game that was completely dominated by men. There were almost no women who played Dungeons & Dragons. I know because I dated a girl, and she was one of the few women who played. She was ranked nationally as a player. And she was one of the few. One of the very, very few women I knew who even played the damn game. Ardent at Indie Phantom. Age Gap Illustrated. It's just not a game for women. They don't like it. They don't like comics. Look, women like other things. That's all there is to it. They don't like this kind of stuff. They like shoes. Women love shoes. And I will die on that hill. Come on. I have yet to meet a woman who doesn't have way too many shoes. They love talking about shoes. They'll talk to each other about shoes. They'll talk about when they're going to get more shoes. Everything's about shoes. Men, I have one pair of decent shoes. I have a dress pair of shoes, and I have my current pair of sneakers. When will I buy new shoes? When the sneakers are just about dead. And then, like, I'll wait until the last possible minute, and then I'll buy another pair. If I suddenly start doing great with the Pineys and I make some real cash, I would buy a second pair just to have, so I wouldn't have to wait until that moment. But women have shoes for every conceivable occasion. Ardent, I had groups when I DM'd where girlfriends would show up, create a character, and then just gossip with each other. So irritating, I banned girlfriends from the table eventually. I mean, I had girls play in my group. They would play, but like, it wasn't the end all be all. They were mostly just there because the guys were there. That's it. Ardent, I have my dress shoes, work boots, and a pair of Crocs. Yeah. I have a pair of slippers. I have a pair of boots. I mean, that's just footwear. I don't even consider, they're not shoes. But women generally, and I don't say this as a criticism. This is just the way they're wired. They're wired that most of their lives revolve around relationships. They love relationships. So if it doesn't dovetail somehow into relationship stuff, it's not a huge priority for them. It doesn't mean they don't like other stuff, but a lot of times they just do guy stuff because the guys are doing it, because their boyfriend or their husband's into it or their sons, and they try it. Do they like it? Sometimes they like it. Sometimes they merely tolerate it. But it depends, it's very rare. Like my stuff, the Jersey Devil stuff, are there women into it? A handful, but it's like a very, very specific thing. But like, Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, video games, this is the realm of guy stuff. That women, a small group of feminists, decided they would invade the space and destroy it. Congratulations, you destroyed it. Now what? Now it's being all undone, finally. Now you've destroyed all these companies, and we've all learned an important lesson to never let you back in. Now every corporation that starts up will start with a unwritten rule. Oh yeah, we don't take female developers. Now they can never say that openly because they know that's discriminatory, so they'll never openly say that. They just won't hire you. They just won't call you. As soon as all the rules are gone, you'll never get a call. That resume will go right in the trash, and you'll never know. That's how you get around it. And when somebody shows up to your new successful video game company and says, I've noticed you don't have enough women here, they won't listen to you because they'll just point to the past and say, oh yeah, I remember those video game companies. They all went out of business for listening to people like you. Get the F out of here. We don't have to listen to you. That's what's going to happen. And then women will be shuttered out of these media, these jobs. And there will be a handful of them that want to work in them, but they can make their own companies. Zebek's Demise. My sister is digging the Pineys. Oh, thank you, Zebek's Demise sister. The Pineys has a broader appeal as a book because it's like supernatural stuff and, there are female characters in it. I like to think it has a broad appeal because I try to portray women as they are. So like Joyce, cousin Joyce in the Pineys is one of the hunters. But she's also a mom, so she tries to compete with Hemingway, but because she's a mother and she has other responsibilities, she kind of can't. She tries to keep up with him, but she kind of can't. And Hemingway chastises for trying to do so in book 6. He chastises her. He's like, Joyce, you're a grown woman. What are you doing? So that's what I like to try to do in my books, is to have some amount of reality there. Ardent, to be fair to the fairest sex, the one girl that showed up as the non-girlfriend was an amazing player. She ran the best diplomat bard I saw in person. Begone, noob. LOL. Ardent, Hemingway's mom is my favorite female so far. Yeah, because Christie is kind of the ultimate female. She's completely unhinged. And that's kind of, she represents that in the series, because witches are representatives of chaos. And it's sort of like a female energy completely unleashed. And that's sort of Christie. So she's just going to have fun, and she doesn't care who has to pay the price. And she's been doing that her entire life, and no one's going to stop her. And damn the consequences. But, yeah, like, the idea that you're going to have... And look, I had female players run in Mafia, and they were good. These were teenage girls, by the way. I ran this game one time in, some gaming con. And they decided to play. Now, in Complete Mafia, I have special classes just for the women. And they, can be associates, but then their class, instead of being... They can't be in the Mafia. So their class that they can graduate to is Mob Wife. So mob wives can do two things. They can still kind of do some of the stuff the guys do, but they use their husbands. See, they can. There's weaknesses in the game. The mob wife's special power is she can negate her husband's weaknesses, right? So she can negate the husband's weaknesses, and then he is a more effective player. However, the mob wives get respect, and respect is part of the game, by getting gifts, right? So if you give your wife like a new car, then she gets a bunch of points. If you disrespect her, though, she can withdraw her power at any time, and your weaknesses immediately come back. So one of the ways the mob wives, or one of the ways the mobsters, the mafia guys, can score big respect points is by having a girlfriend on the side. And if you have a girlfriend on the side, you also have to pay her money and all that kind of stuff. But you also gain more respect. But if your wife finds out about it and she pulls her power, all your weaknesses come back. Ardent, gun mole equals mob wife. Yes. So I ran this game with a group of teenagers, and 2 girls were in it and 2 guys, and I think that was it. And the scenario was they had to go collect this money from a nightclub owner who was a drug addict and wasn't paying his street tax. And there's an opportunity during the course of that scenario to rob him. So they decided to rob him. But the problem is getting your guns past the security guards. The girls completely took over the game. They came up with an excellent way to hide their guns and get them into the nightclub. And then they allowed they gave the boys the guns, and they let the boys commit all the crimes. See, they snuck the guns in, which technically is a crime, but they immediately gave the guns to them and let them run amok in the club. Now, they screwed it up. The boys screwed up the robbery, and because the girls thought the boys would rob the nightclub owner and leave, but things went wrong, and they ended up getting I think one got killed and the other got caught by the cops. And the girls were mad because they didn't get the money. Not that their boyfriends were killed or thrown in jail. but they were this close. They almost got the money from one of the guys to smuggle it out. There was a moment where they could have gotten the money and smuggled it out, and immediately when everything went south, one of the girls went, "Oh, we should have got the money first," and left. And they completely abandoned their boyfriends like that. Like, they didn't even think about it. Like, sometimes when you're playing these games and you abandon one of the other players will be like, "Hey," and then you'll feel bad. The girls didn't even think twice. And they were good at it. So, yeah, girls can be good if they play the game. But, like, you got to give them something that they would be into. And Dungeons & Dragons stuff, again, not necessarily their bag. They would be more interested in frolicking in the fields, like, with fairies, than going on an adventure and killing a dragon. But in the mob game, they were into going to the club, getting drugs, hooking up, and doing all the stuff that, people do in the big city or whatever. So they were also young, so they could sort of pretend to do that even though they're not allowed in clubs or whatever. But it was funny. I was shocked how ruthless the girls were. Indie Phantom. Yeah, girls can be ruthless and cunning. Yeah, but generally, they kind of don't like these games. They kind of don't like video games. They might sit there and play a few games, but, they could be good sports. I'm a good sport to my girlfriend. If she wants to do something I don't really want to do, I'll go along sometimes and say, "Okay, I'll go." That's part of the deal. But, they're not going to initiate a night of Dungeons & Dragons. Very rarely. I've never seen a female DM say, "Hey, everybody, come on over. I'm going to run a game." Although I'm sure a few exist. I've never even met it. I don't even think I met a female DM. But the idea that you're going to change the entire Dungeons & Dragons game, you're going to change comics, you're going to change everything, so women start doing it, and they initiate it, is insane. It's insane. It's literally destroying the brand. It's like what the NFL did, right? The NFL got woke. They're trying to get girls to watch, and they had some success with Taylor Swift there, but you're not going to turn the whole game for girls. It's football. It just infuriates me. Again, I think it's a lot of destroying the IPs so you can later buy them. Indie Phantom, a female DM is a red flag. Get out of that dungeon. I would love to. I'd be very interested to play in a game run by a female DM just to see what the difference is. Because I don't think I ever played or even met a female DM. No, I can't think of one. I wonder if all her games would be like, more soft and fluffy, not a lot of combat, Oh, you're going to dinner. It's a very fancy restaurant. All right. Doctor Who, of course, posts its lowest ratings of all time with season 2 opener, The Robot Revolution. So that show is dead. Zebek's demise, a lot more talking. Did you play Dungeons & Dragons last night? Yeah, we played for 5 hours. Oh, wow, 5 hours. How much treasure did you get? None. We spent the whole time talking. We spent the entire night talking to these people in a bar. That would be kind of funny. God, Doctor Who is destroyed. See, this is the future of all these IPs, and until we fire all the wokies. You got to fire all the woketards. Every single one of them have to be fired and gatekeep out of these things. You just got to fire them. Superhero comic. Look, are there female comics? There used to be. Female comic books used to be a big thing. You could do romance comics and, comics about, again, relationships. They'd probably be a big hit if you marketed them correctly. They're not interested in superhero comics. They're stupid to them. Girls like Archie comics. They love them because what is it about? It's about Archie. Will he pick Betty or Veronica? But then they age out of it, and there's nothing else left. Ardent. Female DM, one combat per month. TPKs every time. Zebek's Demise. Betty and Veronica. Exactly. They love that. Typically I end up asking women that I know, hey, do you ever read comics? Because I always do that survey, and they always say, oh, I read Betty and Veronica when I was really little. Like, that's always the answer. They never come back to me and go, oh yeah, I love Superman and Spider-Man. Almost never. They know who they are. They may have read one that their brother had or their son or whatever. They're not going to read Superman and Spider-Man, typically. Maybe Supergirl. Maybe. But Betty and Veronica, oh yeah. Probably all read it. So if you had Archie comics, that's usually 4 to 8 is the age range. If you had something for them to graduate to that was a little more sophisticated, still not too smutty or anything, they could be romance comics, probably about teenagers in high school, right? 8 to 13, those kinds of comics, they would probably sell pretty decently if you marketed them in the right place. You put them in like, I think this chain went out of business, but Five Below. That was like a young girl's store. My niece used to go to that, Five Below. In my day, it was, well, not my day, but years ago, it was Hot Topic. Places like that. You could probably sell a decent amount of those. Romance comics for young women. Yeah, they'd be into them. Superhero comics? No. Doctor Who? No. They're still not into Doctor Who. It posts the lowest ratings of all time. So here's how wokeified Doctor Who is. First, they put a woman in the role. That shot the ratings and then wokeified it. Made it super woke. Everybody complained. The lead actress said, oh, it's not my fault. You're a bunch of, the usual stuff they say. Then, rather than say, you know what? Maybe we should get back to our roots. Maybe we should do what we always do. The thing that made Doctor Who popular. Nope. They instead decided to make it the gayest TV show of all time. Ncuti Gatwa, or Shuti Gatwa, I think is how they pronounce the name. Shuti Gatwa, a renegade J.C. Penney model from 1976, is now the Doctor. And they did the first season, and I've seen the clips, and it's so gay. I mean, it's so gay, but like it's tropey gay, right? He's in rave clubs, he's making out with dudes. There are musical episodes where they're singing. There's a drag queen as one of the villains. Like, who is this show for? But wait, it gets worse. Season 2, they give him a new companion, right? Yeah, that was the problem, the companion. So they give him a new companion. They get rid of the white girl, of course. And they put in an Indian girl who then has to check Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa's deal. Like, she is his equal, they said in the write-up. She's not just a companion. She's his equal. And she's going to put the Doctor in check. You already hired the wokest dude possible, the wokest character of all time. And then you need another a female character to keep him in check? In check for what? Banging dudes? I guess. I guess if you could stop him banging dudes for 10 seconds and actually do some science fiction, that might help. But I don't think anybody's watching this show. Who the hell is it for? I cannot tell you who this show is for. I don't think it's for women. Why? Just because you put women in it? Are women big fans of science fiction? Not really. Some of them are. There's a tiny sliver of female nerddom. They like science fiction. But those nerds generally are hardcore. They want real science fiction. They don't want musicals. The people who are fans of musicals, do they watch science fiction? No. No. They do not. And to sexualize Doctor Who, and they made it way more sexual than it had ever been, in my opinion. Who's that for? Who is that for? There's no audience for this show. They're literally making shows now for zero, the smallest audience possible. So you'd have to be, I don't know, and according to their logic, the woke logic is, oh, you got to have representation or they're not seen, they won't watch. Okay, so by your logic, the only people who are going to watch this show are gay or female and or minority. By your own crazy logic, that would be your audience. That's a small slice of people. And they have to be into science fiction and musicals. That's a weird combo. There's a halfway decent-sized audience for musicals and a halfway decent-sized one for science fiction. You overlap them in the Venn diagram, you get a tiny sliver of those two audiences. People who like science fiction probably are going to see it undermined by the musical aspects. People who like musicals are probably going to see the sci-fi portions of it, the nerd stuff, undermining it. On top of the fact that it is in the realm of nerddom. You're trying to drag other people into the realm of nerddom. They don't want to be there. Zebek's demise. The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. Yes, Indie Phantom. That is a small audience for sure. Yeah. Drag queens? Raves? I guess this is Russell T Davies' world because he's gay, I guess. But he's an older gay guy. Does he go to clubs? Does he think this is what's hip and new? Gay clubs? There's a bunch of people sitting around going, yeah, I'd watch TV, but they never show any gay clubs. Like, who does that? People go to gay clubs. They're out of clubs. They don't watch TV. They certainly don't watch Doctor Who. It would be the least cool thing you could possibly do. People go to clubs. They're cool kids. I'm not one of them. They're cool kids. They go to clubs. They drop Molly and dance to techno music and bump into each other. They don't watch TV. They don't watch anything. They're going to clubs to get laid and take drugs and meet people. That's their scene. You're trying to bring those people in to watch TV? It's nuts. It's suicide. It's a suicide run of a TV show. I know. I rant about this stuff all the time, but it infuriates me because it was stuff that I liked. And they destroyed it. And there needs to be a reckoning of some kind. I'm not saying any violence or anything like that. But I think the people who worked on these shows should be kicked out of Hollywood forever. I would never hire them. If they offer me, Netflix comes to me tomorrow and says, we're going to give you $100 million for the Pineys. $100 million. Like more than enough money, I could live my dream of eating myself to death with sushi. No, I could live any dream I want. $100 million. I could do literally anything I want. However, we're going to hire Russell T Davies to be the showrunner and direct the show. I'd be like, go F yourself. Go F yourself. I would lose my damn mind. I would lose my damn mind. I would easily turn that down. Indie Phantom. Good point, Tony. Zebek's demise. Good dream. Thank you. Because it just wouldn't be worth it. I'd rather be poor and, die at some table at some market in the middle of South Jersey in the Pines. Oh my God, he's dead. Well, he wrote his 100th book of the Pineys. Then to be rich and wealthy and have one of these asshats ruin it. God, they're not even in the ballpark of what that was about. All right, I'm going to move on. Common America Alpha Kickstarter soars past 93,000 as fans rally behind new manga format. Manga format. I don't really know this. Maybe some of you weebs out there know. Common America. Is it like Japanese anime about America? It kind of looks that way. So I guess they're a band of hot chicks in America. So they got a Kickstarter, if you're interested. It's modest 1776 goal. Wow, I might have to watch this. Offers fans a 180-page Tanakobon format manga, features Common America in her debut adventure in the style. Oh, okay, so this is a new character. Zebek's demise. He's stone cold dead in the market. Manga boobage, says Indie Phantom. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, I don't know. It's probably not for me, but hey, at least you get boobs. Let's see. Here's a breakdown of the Doctor Who episode if you want to hear more people screaming about it. Let's see. A lot more reviews in Fandom Pulse. Lucasfilms is developing a Star Wars horror project. I thought the current Star Wars was mostly horror, but it's definitely my horror. Oh, here's something about Steve Ditko, comic fans. Steve Ditko's nephew and former editor launched Steve Ditko's Amazing Heroes and Monsters crowdfund. So that sounds cool. This guy on the left was Ditko's one of his superheroes. I forget what the hell his name is, but it's an interesting character. He's very sort of black and white, good and evil. That's like his whole deal. Razor Fist pointed him out a few weeks ago. Pretty interesting character. Should check it out. This was a great trumpet today, or this week. Ardent, please don't let it be based on Red Harvest. That was one of the worst Star Wars books. I don't know. President Trump laughs at China importing fewer American films in response to tariffs. Oh no, where will China get their woke, horrible movies now? Maybe we should export Doctor Who to them. Maybe we should put it in a plane and drop DVDs over the countryside. Piss everybody in China off. All right, moving to the Hollywood Reporter. There's more on Bernie Sanders. Jesus, how many times are you going to cover this? More on White Lotus and SNL. Is there anything else going on in Hollywood? Oh, Green Day. Green Day blazed through headline set. I guess they were at Coachella. There's another group of TDS sufferers. I'm sure they were big fans of Bernie. White Lotus star Amy Lou Wood says SNL apologized for mean and unfunny parody. And that's 100% what's wrong with SNL. Apologizing? You don't apologize. You don't apologize if you're funny. Godzilla comic, George Takei graphic memoir, They Called Us Enemy, among IDW titles coming to Webtoon. Don't care. Oh, this was a big story this week. The Best Stunt Oscar. That's a new thing now. I think casting got added too. So, I think this will help, but not by much. The problem with the Oscars, I mean, they're pretty irrelevant. I like this edition, but who cares? it's still mostly crap movies by people I can't stand. You know, this is good. You're doing more industry stuff. Like, if they took my advice and some other people, I forget who suggested it. I think, let's say Justine Bateman said it. They should stop airing the Oscars. It should just put it on YouTube, do static camera shots, and make it more like a trade show. And then, like, it would be more inside movie, I think. But they keep trying to make it into a show, and I think that's a dumb idea. Like, this is the kind of category that should be in the Oscars. So it should be like a trade awards show. It should be not full of singing numbers and skits and all that crap. Most times they're terrible anyway, so just cut them all. Stop trying to make it entertaining. Just make it about the awards and the movies. But Indie Phantom, SNL is nearly as old and tired as Bernie. Let's get Oscars for stunts in an era where they are hardly practiced anymore. They should definitely stop the Oscars. Yeah. Yeah, it's like too little too late. I think casting has been added too. But they also changed the voting. The voting used to be anyone in the Academy. So I think that included every single actor, even the ones that hadn't worked in decades, who were old and just sort of staying in to collect their, benefits and whatnot. And they, a few years ago, they changed the rules to push them out. So I don't know if their votes count or they don't get the vote anymore or something like that. So they wanted a younger demographic for the voting because they wanted more woke movies to win. And that was part of the deal. And that didn't help at all, in my opinion. Indie Phantom, look at the Oscar nominees from 72 for the 71 year. That was a deserving list. Yeah. I bet it was awesome. 1972 Oscar nominees. There you go. All right. Oh, wait. We don't want to see the videos. So, best directing was The French Connection. William Friedkin, who's insanely talented. Do we have the nominees, though? Gene Hackman won for The French Connection. The nominees were Peter Finch, Sunday Bloody Sunday, Walter Matthau for Koch, George C. Scott for The Hospital, and Topol for Fiddler on the Roof. What was the best picture? Or here's directing. The French Connection, A Clockwork Orange, which didn't win, Fiddler on the Roof, which didn't win, The Last Picture Show, which didn't win, and Sunday Bloody Sunday, which also didn't win. Jesus, what a lineup. What was best picture, though? Best picture. Winner, The French Connection. Nominees, A Clockwork Orange, Fiddler on the Roof, Last Picture Show, and Nicholas and Alexandra. I don't remember that one. Yeah, it's a huge list. Actor in a supporting role. Ben Johnson, who won for The Last Picture Show. Jeff Bridges was nominated for The Last Picture Show. Leonard Frey, Fiddler on the Roof. Richard Jekyll, Sometimes a Great Nation. Roy Schreider in The French Connection. Zebek's Demise. Now Hollywood is working on Diddler on the Roof. Zebek's. Best Actress. Jane Fonda won for Clute. Julie Christie was nominated for McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Glenda Jackson for Sunday Bloody Sunday. Vanessa Redgrave, Mary Queen of Scots. Janet Sussman, Nicholas and Alexandria. Indie Phantom, the 70s were solid as F. Yeah. Oh, here, actress in a supporting role. Cloris Leachman won for The Last Picture Show. Remember her? Nominees were Anne Margaret, Carnal Knowledge. Ellen Burstyn, The Last Picture Show. Barbara Harris, Who is Harry Kellerman and Why is he saying those terrible things about me? Wow, what a title. and Margaret Leighton, the go-between. So this is on the Academy's website. And the honorary award was Charlie Chaplin. I mean, Jesus. Where the heck was I now? Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's move on to Bounding in the Comics. Indie Phantom. Yeah, I need to check out this Nicholas and Alexandria film. Don't know it. Yeah, I never heard of that one. All the other ones I'm like, oh, yeah. I need to rewatch a lot of them, too. This is probably a good time to rewatch those movies. But, you know, again, just watching Zodiac was just like, what am I doing with my life? Why can't movies be this good? Like, at least that good. Like, now that you've made that movie, no other movie should be worse than that. This was the biggest story from Bounding. John Lovitz and producer Al Jean want to bring back The Critic, which I do like. I like this show. And I want to see John Lovitz's work again. So, I think it'll be fun. You know, they could basically do what we're doing. And the movies are terrible, so maybe Lovitz will rip them apart. I mean, Lovitz is kind of based, from what I've heard, which is probably why he hasn't been working as much. But yeah, let's get this show back. Maybe they could do a Kickstarter. That would be great. How about that? A TV show that gets financed by a Kickstarter? Over Deadline. More SNL, of course. More Bernie Sanders, of course. Zevek's Demise. The Critic was pretty good. Show might work now because of how bad things are. Yeah, I agree. Imagine The Critic looking at Star Wars. The new Star Wars stuff. Faith-based films. Celestial. As King of Kings sets opening record. The Chosen, Last Supper double dips in top 10 again. Specialty box office. These guys are, I think they're going to take over eventually. Indie Phantom. Only weird thing, are there legit critics now, or is he just going to be a YouTube guy? Yeah. That'll be interesting. They'll probably start it like he's been doing a podcast all this time. And now they finally asked him to come back because he's like the last critic around. Let's see. Yeah, jeez, more on SNL. Amy Lou Wood receives apologies from SNL after mean and unfunny impression. Oops. Messed that up. God. What is wrong with you people? I've lost whatever respect I had for SNL, just went right out the window with that statement. You apologized? Since when does I mean, back in the 70s, there would have been no apologies. No way. No way. They said all kinds of nasty things. Back in the day, in the 70s, SNL was great. And the executives, the people they were making fun of, oh, they effing hated it. They wanted it off the air. But it was a huge hit. Everybody liked it. It was funny as F back then. Now, Lizzo takes aimed at Trump with printed t-shirt during SNL appearance. Terrified. Get it? Yeah, why don't you go eat another ho-ho, Lizzo? Who cares? Who cares what you think and your t-shirt and your terrible music? Ugh. There's Mickey Rourke ashamed over losing temper on Celebrity Big Brother UK, causing removal. I went over the line. I did wrong. I don't know about that. This could be a ploy to stir up the drama so you watch the damn thing. Or it could be, because it could be, as you said, he doesn't really give an F. But sounds like he gives an F in that headline. Sounds like he gives a big F. Green Day alters Jesus of Suburbia lyric in support of Palestine at Coachella. So these guys are just 100% fully woke. The worst thing that ever happened to punk music ever is officially Green Day. I used to like Green Day. I actually went to one of their concerts in Asbury Park. Jesus. Indie Phantom. Mickey pure ratings buzz. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. They're going to do a big show where he leaves, and then they'll bring him back. And then it'll be big ratings. Oh, they're bringing him back? That's an outrage. Oh, I got to watch. So manipulative. I hate reality shows. God, I hate them. The only one I liked was Cops. Cops was the greatest reality show. Oh, no, wait. I take that back. It was Cops, and then Steven Seagal's version of Cops, where he's the sheriff's deputy, which was the funniest show ever. God, that was gold. Ardent. Oh, he lost his temper. LOL. Doubtful. Mickey would have wrecked the pretty boys if he had really gone off. Indie Phantom. I wonder who else are the celebs. I think they're all in the UK, so we probably wouldn't even know them. But let's see. Let us see. Celebrity Big Brother UK. Okay. I guess it's this one? Apparently they had one with Stormy Daniels. Alright. So this is most recent. Let's go to most recent episode. Alright. Indie Phantom, Lawman is Siegel Gold. Oh, it's so funny. Indie Phantom, why is Mickey in the UK, big bro? I don't know. I guess because they don't have that here, or do they? Do they have Big Brother on American TV? So JoJo Siwa, she's in it. She's like some singer who's gay. That's the only one I recognize on this list. These are celebrities. I think they're all celebrities in the UK, I guess. I don't know any of these people. Yeah, they're in their 24th season. This was Celebrity Big Brother 2018. Oh, this isn't even the right one. There's 2025. Oh, here, let me try this one. No, there's Joe Sliwa again. Yeah, I'm not seeing. I don't know. Who cares? Looks terrible. Looks terrible. Where was I now? Indie Phantom, they should just let Mickey go full dumpster fire. Oh, I predict they will. They'll bring him back, and they'll say, okay, you could do this, but you can't do that now. We did some focus groups, Mickey, and we want to... Oh, sorry, they're English. We did some focus groups, and we'd like you to come back with some conditions. Now, we do love the triggering language. We want you to be you, but we have some limits. I don't want any limits. We talk about limits. I don't want limits. We will pay you triple. Oh, right. Okay, show me the limits. Try Big Brother UK. All right. Big Brother UK. This one? Yeah, these are from 2024, it looks like. Yeah, I don't recognize any of these people. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. What else? Minecraft movie. More White Lotus. Jesus Christ, I can't take the White Lotus. When is the White Lotus going off the air? Coachella, Minecraft, SNL. This is like the same headlines, and These are the trades. This is the only things going on, or they're just not covering anything, right? So they talk about SNL, they talk about Minecraft, they talk about Coachella, and they talk about White Lotus. That's it. The end. Nothing else. Only hundreds and hundreds of TV shows and movies came out. I mean, they at least mention the Jesus stuff, but criminies, man. All right, MCU losing its superpowers. Thunderbolts tracking looking pretty weak. Oh, here it is. Now we finally got some data on this. According to tracking, the tentpole is headed for domestic debut in the 63 to 77 million range, with a target number of just 70 million. It's a budget reportedly 180 million, roughly needs 450 million to 500 million wide to break even. No effing way this movie breaks even with that number. If they start that low, no way. Okay, 70, 35 would be 105, then 152, then like 160, 164, 166. You're looking at maybe 200 domestic. Maybe. Indie Phantom sounds like a lost leader. Yeah, and if that's assuming it does 50% or more. I don't think this movie has any legs. I don't think this movie has legs. Once word gets out that most of the movie is second-rate Black Widow, Florence Pugh, and David Harbour, I can't stand. He hasn't had a hit movie yet. I don't think. The Black Widow movie wasn't a hit. He was in some comedy where he plays a ghost. That wasn't a hit. Ardent. It's almost like when you turn characters that were kind of okay in the comics, Bucky excluded, into parodies of themselves or the characters they replaced, fans aren't interested. Weird. Yeah, the comic, this isn't even the comic. These idiots in Hollywood don't understand IPs. They're not comic IPs. They just figured, oh, okay, this is a comic IP. Well, we'll do Thunderbolts. People know that, right? No. Number one, it's not even that popular an IP. That's number one. Number one, Thunderbolts came and went. It was a hit for a short time and then gone. I can think of at least, let me think off the top of my head, other Marvel titles that would have been a bigger hit. Number one on my list, which I've been ranting about for a while, is Avengers West Coast. 100% that would have been money in the bank. Okay, so you got Avengers West Coast. You got Runaways. That would have been solid. They tried to do it once. They screwed it up. Nobody remembers that. They could have brought it back in a movie. It wouldn't have mattered. They may not have had the rights to it, though, because that may still be over at Fox. I think that's part of the X-Men. So they had what else? Gosh, I had two more, but now I remember they're DC. They can't do Spider-Man. They could have done something. Well, they can't do the Hulk. God. Defenders. They kind of did them, but they never really made them work. Could have done the Defenders. There's a bunch of characters from the Defenders you still could have brought back. Although they ruined Valkyrie, so that would have been stupid. God, there was a few others. And now I lost them. I mean, you could have done a Sinister Six movie, but then again, they're all with Spider-Man. So you got the IPs all over the place. I guess this is the last one they had? I want to say there was one with Captain America. There was like a Captain America team. Could have maybe done that. You could have just done, I don't know, a random character from the IP list and just put some effort into it. I mean, even David Harbour on his stupid Red Guardian character, you could have just done a movie about him, I guess. if you're dying to like make David Harbour famous again. But gosh, they had Thunderstrike. That was about as popular as Thunderbolts. It's about like some single dad who becomes Thor. Ardent, The Rise of the Midnight Suns. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Storyline from back in the 90s. Ghost Rider, Blade, Hannibal King, and Doctor Strange. Yeah, that could have been good. I mean, they would have had to recast Ghost Rider. They would have had to finally recast Blade. They sort of did that. Hannibal King, nobody knows, but Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was in the Defenders, I think, at one point. You could have brought back my favorite, which was Power Man and Iron Fist. Now, I know Iron Fist, like, kind of tanked, but, I mean, you could have just brought him back anyway and just done a movie. That to me would have had more legs than this. You could have, I don't know, thrown some comedy in it, God forbid. Heroes for Hire. There you go. I mean, they were Heroes for Hire, Power Man and Iron Fist, but they've already taken that comic and ruined it, so why not do that one? Ardent, why Nick Cage would work next to Ryan Reynolds' Hannibal King. Maybe. I don't know. Nick Cage is kind of old to play Ghost Rider. I don't think he wants to go back as Ghost Rider. There was talk they were going to cast Ryan Reynolds, not Ryan Reynolds, what's his name? Ryan Gosling as Johnny Blaze. Ardent, I thought about Power Man and Iron Fist too, but they would have to either train, rise, or recast. I think they could do it. What they need to do is pull the woke rod out of their backside and actually do it. Actually do a good movie. Like Power Man and Iron Fist, I mean, ideally, if you hadn't already established the characters in the DCU or MCU, I would have just put them back in the 70s. It would have been hilarious. Ardent, actor getting old, CGI. Yeah, it's true. You could. I don't think Cage would do it, though. I don't think so. But maybe. But yeah, okay. So it's already looking weak. This is probably the most it could possibly do, 70 million on an opening. Right? Unless it exceeds expectations, and I doubt it will. So it'll probably undercut it. Maybe it does 60. And then just goes down the toilet, spirals down the toilet, loses Disney a 50 mil, and then you're done. Ardent, here's a thought. Stop hiring actors who are already famous and get good casting. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, they just don't, they just cast people who are famous. I mean, you look at Chris Hemsworth, right? Chris Hemsworth turned out to be an amazing Thor. He's really the only thing holding the MCU together at this point. I mean, when Avengers Doomsday comes, 80%, I think, of the fans will be, they want to kind of see Robert Downey Jr., but I think they're very wary about him being Doctor Doom. But Chris Hemsworth is always solid. Even in the worst Thor movies, he's a good Thor. But, yeah, this is done. This is done. Stick a fork in it. It's done. Minecraft movie becomes 2025 box office top grossing movie after 80 million and second weekend. Oh, it's the top grossing of 2025 altogether. That's interesting. Indie Phantom, Doomsday is coming for the MCU. Certainly is. Ardent, I thought Hiddleston was the best part of the Thor movies. He was good, but God, I mean, they kind of ruined Loki. They sort of haven't ruined Thor. I thought the fat Thor was fun, but a lot of people thought it ruined the character. I didn't see the female Thor movie, so maybe they completely ruined him in that. Hiddleston's good. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Hiddleston is good. It's just that poor guy, his career. I mean, it's tied to that character. I hope he catches a break so he can get the hell out. But he seems stuck. He seems stuck as Loki now. Chris Cuomo calls out extremely suspicious trades moments before Trump tariff pause. Oh, shut up, Chris Cuomo. Talk about a guy I would not trust ever to tell me anything about news is Chris Cuomo. What an absolute... God, I try not to curse on the stream, but I really want to. I mean, why don't you go check on your Hamptons house again while you pretend to be locked in your basement during a pandemic, Cuomo. Fredo. What else? Cosmic book news. Marvel reimagining Fantastic Four for modern MCU audiences. Oh boy, I bet you can't wait. So, rumors have already offered Vanessa Kirby Sue Storm as the star of the Fantastic Four. First steps. Yeah, why wouldn't she be the star? She didn't invent the rocket. She's just the girl. This would follow Feige's female-led approach in movies like Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Thor Love and Thunder, The Marvels, and the upcoming Thunderbolts movie. Oh boy. Not to mention DC Plus's WandaVision, Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, and Secret Invasion. It's women, 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 women. Ardent. LOL, I'd forgotten about the Fredo thing. Don't you know that's like the N-word for Italians? I'm allowed to say it. You can't say it, but I can. What else? As a side note, it's pretty funny. The article tries to convince fans the recent comic book run by Jonathan Hickman is on par with the original Fantastic Four. Go F yourself, article. Indie Phantom, pretty fresh having a female lead for a change. Yeah, new Human Torch. He's not going to be a womanizer. It's going to be kind and nice. Women, Invisible Woman, no longer invisible. Yeah, the glass ceiling was stopping her. God, I can already see it in the stills. There's Mustache Man. Ardent, LOL, I'll say it anyway. That makes you racist. God, just let it die. Daredevil bombs again, fails to chart Nielsen ratings. This is the other big factor I talked about. The Disney brand, or the MCU brand, is dead, I think. I think it's just dead. I think people see Disney now and they just run. It's like, why even bother? If Daredevil is something halfway decent, although I hear the later episodes, no bueno, but, you know. And here, Marvel's Thunderbolts projected to flop worse than Brave New World. Brave New World, I think, just barely broke even on the budget. There's no way it broke even on the advertising, too. Ardent? Racist? Nah, it makes me fun. Oh, right. But look at this. So, Daredevil bombs, and the show is at least watchable in the beginning. Thunderbolts bombs, let's say, does worse than Captain America. How the hell is Fantastic Four gonna do any good? Yeah, you might get a good first weekend opening, but word's gonna leak out, and some of the people who leak out the word will leak it out ahead of time. I bet Nerdrotic can't wait to see this movie, but not for the reason it being good, for the reason he's going to trash it. Indie Phantom, that publicity shot of the FF costume looks so awkward. Even the last group looked better in promos. Yeah, it's supposed to do the 60s, but I don't know, it's not working for me either. Ardent, I have no F's to give. My F's have all run dry. I think people agree with you. Goodbye, millions of dollars. Here you go. Marvel unleashes Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe this summer. Great. Finally. Will they destroy all the people working at Marvel too? Indie Phantom. Pedro in woke looking flick at Khan about a border town during the pandemic. Oh, that sounds great. Sounds like if I even need to get to sleep and I hate myself, I should put that right on. Director says DCU's Lanterns mixes True Detective, Fargo, and wry humor. Well, I don't trust a damn thing coming out of that show because Damon Lindelof is working on it, so I am out. Indie Phantom, like him versus MAGA. Like him versus a MAGA sheriff. Oh, Jesus. Minecraft sequel in development. Box office smashes 200 million second weekend. Yeah, of course. Of course they're going to do a sequel to this. The ink probably isn't dry on the first contracts. They're signing a new one. Oh, don't worry, guys. Warner Brothers exec says Gunn Superman crushes it. It's so epic. Well, who could be more trustworthy than a studio executive who actually helped produce the film to tell you that it's good? Michael DeLuca, co-chair and CEO of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, just gave James Gunn Superman film apparently a thumbs up. WB confirms Matt Reeves hasn't finished the Batman 2 scripts. There's a bad rumor going around. Grace Randolph says that Matt Reeves is having some medical issues. That is only a rumor. Nothing's been announced. It's possible. And typically, when you have medical issues in the entertainment industry, you keep it very hush-hush because you don't want to be replaced. Now, I think Matt Reeves happens to be irreplaceable on this particular project, and they would not replace him. But that sounds like it could be rough. I hope he's okay. Indie Phantom Minecraft sequel. At least they don't have to overthink it like WB would. Yeah, WB would be like, "Oh, really? I don't know. We made so much money. It's a lot of money to count. Maybe we'll sleep on it for a few years." Amazon kills Tomb Raider series. Phoebe Waller-Bridge demoted. Well, see, it's not all bad. Sometimes we get some good news. Who did a video about this? I think Doomcock did a video about this. But don't worry, everybody. She made $100 million on her Amazon deal. I am not kidding. Amazon, and I wish I could have gotten this deal, they gave her a contract worth $20 million a year to develop projects. $20 million a year. Indie Phantom, go home, Fleabag. She can go home to her mansion where she can live in splendor for the rest of her life because she made $100 million. So they signed her to a Ardent, holy crap, good news. Yes, it only cost them $100 million to not do anything. Ardent, oh, good for her. Hope she retires. So $20 million a year. I think it started in 2019. And the only thing she did during the last 5 years, she did a voiceover for a documentary, I think. And she was supposed to write the scripts for Tomb Raider. But according to the rumors, the scripts were so terrible, they wouldn't greenlight them. And so now her contract's just about run out. I don't think they want to do it now. I think they want her woke ass out of Amazon because they fired Jennifer Salke, who was responsible for a lot of the stuff that was super woke at Amazon, including Rings of Power and the Wheel of Time, the woke Wheel of Time, the Wheel of Woke. and she apparently signed off on this contract. So I think my guess would be Amazon's just going to let the contract lapse and say, see ya, because it sounds that way. Because if after $100 million you can't get a decent Tomb Raider script, are you kidding me? $100 million. $100 million. And they have nothing to show for it other than a few voiceovers in a documentary about octopuses, apparently. $100 million. That's staggering amount of money for such little worth. What the hell was she doing all that time? But I can't say I'm totally shocked. I guess I'm a little shocked at the amount. But I knew a guy who was working at Disney, and they were paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to develop properties, and I don't think he got a single one greenlit. And they paid him for years, and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I think it was $300 a year for one of the partners, and I don't know how much the senior partner made. But I bet it was more than $300. So imagine getting paid that kind of money for years. Years. You're just making more money than you know what to do with. Even in LA, $100 million. Oh, you can live quite well in LA. Quite well. Even if you had a mansion, let's say she's got a mansion like, I don't know, it's $6 million. $100 million, she's still got like $90 million left. After taxes, maybe she's got 40, let's say 40 million after she spent a bunch of money. She'll still walk away a multi-millionaire. And that's assuming she invests none of it. And she still has the house. She could just sell that house, get 5 million, probably get less for it because LA's falling apart, and just walk into the sunset with her $45 million. Clint Miller, $100 million. Harris Waltz for president? Hi, Clint. It's good to see you. It's just staggering amount of money. I'm just amazed. Like, I'm just mad that it's not me. I'm mad I don't have that kind of money. JC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Oh, everybody's getting here. Jesus. Where the hell have you guys been? Doing a whole show without you. Ardent says, at JC, hey, hey, hey. But don't worry, everybody. Black Power Ranger hits back at Race Backlash. Not a mistake, a milestone. Oh, good for him. He seemed to like his role as the Black Power Ranger, even though he was black. So what? Black Vulcan was black on the Super Friends cartoon. Black Lightning's black. They got black in the name. So what? No one cares. No one cares. I mean, it's not like they created Black Superman and then called him Black Superman. That would be bad. Like, you created a character and you called him Mexican Superman, or then you'd be like, that's not, you don't call him Mexican Superman. That was stupid. You'd call him something else. All right. You guys got here. I'm running out of headlines. What else I got here? Oh, let's go to that Park Place. Gina Carano and the Walt Disney Company agree on limited protective status in lawsuit. If you want to read the order, she's doing fairly well against her in her lawsuit against Disney. It seems she got a few wins. I don't quite understand it. I'm not following it that closely, but it sounds like things are moving forward. So Elon Musk is funding this lawsuit, by the way. So good for her. I hope she's living in the Magic Kingdom at the end of it. Wouldn't that be great? They just take down the Disney sign and put up a big picture of Gina. And she starts living there, and you see her like sweeping the front porch. And the tourists come, and she's like, hey, get the hell out of here. I live here. Ardent, LOL, Black Power Ranger is black. White Power Ranger is, wait, can I even say that? Yeah, I don't know. They made up these characters in Japan where that kind of stuff doesn't resonate. You could say that kind of stuff. JC, did Elon knock her up too? No, I don't think so. Elon put out an offer on X that he would fund lawsuits against Disney, I think, or against people who had lost their job for woke reasons. And Gina piped up, and he saw the tweet, and so now he's funding the deal. I think it's a PR move for Elon, or it was at the time. I don't know if it's really doing anything for him now, but he's too busy with Doge. By the way, Ardent and clipping Tony saying white power for later. Damn it. Every time. So Elon initially announced he expected to save the U.S. government $2 trillion with Doge. Then he walked it back to $1 trillion, and today he walked it back to $150 billion. And a lot of people, including myself, aren't too happy with that number. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I hope he intends to eventually save us $1 trillion, but that he's only saving $1 billion, kind of not much to brag about. 150 billion, yeah, he's got to get to that trillion mark. We are spending way too much money. 150 billion. I mean, that's positive. It's in the positive direction, but that's not enough. It's got to be at least $1 trillion. He's got to take on the Ron Paul. Ron Paul's promise was to cut $1 trillion, but that was like 15 years ago when $1 trillion would have made a huge difference. JC, Elon's supposed to be leaving soon. I know. My worry is he's going to leave and just kind of like go back to taking care of business for a while because things are... he needs to address things at Tesla because of all the protests, and he wants it to die down. And my hope is someone in the Trump administration picks up the baton and saves us money somehow. JC, Elon being so invested in China, it's a bad look for him having so much access. Well, now, yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll be more behind the scenes. I don't know. But we'll see. We shall see. I don't like that Trump is upping the Pentagon's budget. I sort of understand the move. He's trying to look tough in front of the other nations, but I don't think that's good for us. Now, if we're saving 150 billion and we save the difference between the increase in the Pentagon budget, maybe, but we should be cutting the Pentagon budget. I believe. I think we should be closing military bases around the world to save money. JC, Tesla stock has lost almost 40% of its value. Actually, it's back. I have Tesla stock, so I follow it fairly closely. I went underwater for one day, and it came back. And it's not back to where it was, but it's still pretty decent. The value it was at, that it dropped from, was very high. It was peak price. It wasn't going to stay there either way. It was going to drop either way. So, I think 40% is not... I don't think it's that low, but it might be. But it's still above what I bought it at. So, got to buy in the dip, as they say. This is not financial advice. Please don't listen to my financial advice. But I think part of it, too, is I think just Elon wants to lay low for a while. And maybe address some of the things going on at Tesla and his various companies. Hopefully someone at the Trump admin continues his work. We'll see. JC, it was down 36%. It was like 36% down, I heard. I would check it live, but I don't want to show you my stocks. So that might be true. Toy prices set to skyrocket as U.S. and Chinese tariffs could double costs for Hasbro, Mattel, and more. Oopsie. Oh, Hasbro, the guys who own Woke Dungeons and Dragons? Cry me a river. Don't care. I think there's too many toys around anyway. I'm sick of Funkos. I'm kind of sick of toys. Todd McFarlane toys probably won't be affected, will they? I think they're made in the States because they're custom made and they're probably more expensive. I don't think they're made in China, but they might be. I know they're plastic, but that's an interesting thought. Could Todd take over toys? That would be the move. But I don't care about toys. Not really. I mean, look. I see too many adults buying toys. There, I said it. Way too many people. I go to shows. It's all adults. They're buying toys like crazy. I see people with Funkos. I want to just slap the box out of their hand. Why did you buy that crap? I hate Funkos. I think they're stupid. I don't know why people buy them. I just don't get it. I get it if you're like, if you have a toy and you had it when you were a kid and you buy one. I get that. Sure. Yeah, maybe if you're a collector or whatever. There are guys who they're buying toys and they're displaying them. Like, what are you doing? Like, I have a few toys. I got all those toys for free. People gave them to me as gifts or as joke gifts. I didn't go out and buy them. JC, only adults buy toys. Children like tablets and video games. Yeah. Well, little kids like toys, but yeah. So, good. I say good to the increase in prices. Bill Maher stuns fans with surprising take on President Trump after a White House dinner. So, my ex-boss went to the White House and had dinner with Trump. And surprise, surprise, Trump didn't scream like a maniac and they had a nice time. Ardent, I had 2 Funkos given to me and watched their values spike and then tank inside of a month. Gave them to a friend and he's pleased as punch. Yeah. I don't get Funkos. They're the new Beanie Baby. I'm waiting for them to just die. And then I'll show up to a show and a guy will have a mountain of them for $1 a piece. It's, you know, they're just junk. I don't understand people who buy toys and leave them in the box. It doesn't make any sense. Look, if you bought a toy and you actually want to display them and play with them, I mean, that's some at least. But then you buy toys and you keep them in the box. So you're investing. Well, that's not a good investment in my view, but, you know, with few exceptions. I mean, there's a handful of guys I know, they're really good at it. They know toys, they know the market, they buy and sell stuff all the time. And you got to stay right on top of it. And some of them are good, but the people they sell to, they don't know. They're the guys who get stuck with those toys. There'll be some guy who will be at a show that I'm at. He'll leave. He'll think he'll be getting a bargain, right? Some guy will get the word that Funkos, the market's going to drop out of Funkos in another week. He'll unload everything on this guy. And the guy will leave the place thinking, oh, man, I got a deal. Look at all the Funkos I got. It only cost me $300. And then he'll go home, and that week, boom, the prices will plummet, and they'll never come back. Someone that's going to happen to. Ardent, Gary from Neurotic quietly crying in his shower now. Well, Gary's like, he was a store owner. He was one of those guys. He knows what's valuable. And he had a whole room covered in them. Like, he's a geek. He likes them. But, you know, he was a store owner. He could get them for a, you know, he's got the high-end ones. He's got them all. Like, okay. But, I mean, I'm talking about guys I see at shows. They don't have the money for this. And they're not playing with them. So they're buying them thinking they're going to be worth more money down the road. Yeah, if you buy them and keep them for 20 years, maybe. Maybe. The cycle is about every 20 years. But I don't know about this cycle, man. You know, Star Trek, Star Wars, MCU, DCU, all that stuff kept coming back every 20 years. What about the next 20 years? I don't know if it's coming back this time. I really don't. 20 years from now, what's it going to be? It might be a completely new set of characters because these characters are done. I think they're finally done. Ardent, I think it's more like that Gary likes them and knows what's going to be a good investment. I wish I still had some of my Gen 1 Transformers still. I used to have G.I. Joes. Those were worth money. I wrecked them. I drove the Jeep into a pool. Not an actual Jeep. I pushed it into a pool. I broke most of the pieces. I think I still have a handful of the accoutrements in a box somewhere. Ardent, Geo live action in 20 years. Yeah, maybe. Pokemon will come back again because they haven't ruined that yet, and it's still big. But I don't know about Spider-Man. I mean, definitely not. Maybe the Image characters might come back in 20 years, maybe. But really, their 20 years is here, and they're not all that hot. They weren't that memorable. Most of the Image characters are forgotten, except maybe Spawn, because they did manage to eke out a movie. And what else? What else from the Image line? Walking Dead is technically from the Image line. That'll come back in 20 years, but JC, Pokemon never went away. Well, I mean, the game's kind of done. You know, the card game, it keeps shifting to other media. So there was the card game, and then it kind of shifted to the phone thing, and you know, it was a video game before the card game. You know, Ardent, I'm with Razor Fist on the ninja thing, though. That was a great era in cinema, schlock and all. I like the Turtles. They were fun. They started really strong. I mean, the black and white original comics are really cool. They're really cool. They were awesome comics. And I think when something starts strong, it degrades, but it degrades much slower if it started really strong. And the Turtles were an example of something that started incredibly strong. People really liked the original comics, and it took a lot of years before it got to the point where it's just like, it's like everything else. It finally got ruined when they swapped out April and Neil. JC, kids still play the card game. They've had middle school kids locked for 25 years now. Yeah, but they don't play it I don't think they play it like they used to. I think there have been phases. I mean, Magic cards are still being played, but they're not as big as they were. I mean, I think, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh cards are probably still being played, but they're not huge. What did they transfer? They went to those weird little. It's like a card thing with a toy on top. You know what I'm talking about? That was big for a while. I don't know. I'd have to check in with one of my younger relatives and figure out what the hell's big now. But I mean, I know what you're saying. Pokemon never really went away. I mean, technically, Star Wars never really went away. There was always a fandom for it. There was always something going on with Star Wars, but it wasn't as big as when the movies came out. So it's like that. I think it's like that. But anyhow, Bill Maher, surprise, surprise, said that the president wasn't an animal. And they had a nice time, and everybody's losing their mind over it. UK tourism is down in Central Florida, but could Epic Universe bring it back? Probably not, because who the hell in the UK has any money? And if they have any money, they should get the hell out of the UK, I'll tell you that. I started watching Carl Benjamin's. He's got a new video out. I think he calls it something like The Case for Britain or something. I don't think I can get through it. It's so depressing. I mean, he lays out I didn't get through it, so I'm not sure how far he goes, but he's just talking about the problems in the UK. And I watch him and Paul Joseph Watson. Paul Joseph Watson has almost every one of his videos recently has been about immigration. They're getting creamed on immigration in the UK. Just absolutely creamed. Crime is like through the roof. The authorities there tried to pass a law. And this was an actual law they tried to pass in the UK that would have made it so that people who weren't white would get lesser sentences on serious crimes, like assault and murder, that they actually were going to try to enshrine racism in the law. But apparently it's not going through because there was enough of a dust storm about it. But as Carl talks about, it didn't not pass because they don't want it. It didn't pass because there was too much of an outrage. So they're basically biding their time until maybe they could pass it sometime in the future. But what's happening in the UK is so extreme and so bad. I think that's why UK tourism is down. And possibly here in South Jersey, the Canadians come here. We have a huge influx of Canadians every summer at the Jersey Shore. The Jersey Shore is their Florida. So if you drive around South Jersey shore towns like Wildwood and Ocean City during the summer, you'll see license plates from Quebec and other places in Canada. Quebec being the biggest one that I notice. And they love it. They love it down here. It's a lot cheaper than Florida, and it's drivable from Canada. So I'll be interested to see if that really cuts back. It seems like it has. I haven't seen as many in the last couple of years, but everybody's sort of broke. But Canada and the UK in particular, yeah, I would say. People are tightening their belts because of what's happening in their own countries. I mean, you guys tell me. You guys all live in Canada, most of you. JC, European tourism has fallen off a cliff. Canadian traffic over the border is down 30% last month. Wow. Where'd you get those stats? That was quick. You are like the go-to guy for facts. You're on fire. 30%. Wow. That's pretty bad. That doesn't bode well for the summer, but the beach should be empty. JC, Quebec doesn't count as Canada. It's more people hate Trump. Okay. Well, New Jersey is a blue state, Canadians. Just so you're aware. But it's red down near me. So just so you're aware. But yeah, the UK, I don't know, man. They're getting really taxed on their energy, like really bad. JC, that stat was on the news. Oh, then it must be true. No, it's probably accurate, somewhat. At least close. I don't think they'd make that up. Could they? Why would they? Maybe it's higher. I don't know. But yeah, so maybe it's just the money. I mean, I ain't going on vacation, but I've been broke forever. So normal people, they're going on vacation here. Yeah. One of my relatives just got back from France. I know. They went to France. I don't know why. I said not to go, but they went. They had a good time. So it's not all bad. I guess it's like, like any other third world country you go to and the resort is great and you don't see all the horrible stuff going on outside the resort. Maybe it's like that in France now. Meanwhile, in the streets, everybody's stabbing each other and lighting fires. But in the resort, it's like, oh, it's tea time. No, wait, it's France. Oh, it's wine time and bread time and cheese time. I don't know. Do you have that in France? Maybe. I'm not a French guy. Let's wrap up with Breitbart. And then I think I have to go to the bathroom and eat some leftover pasta from Bruno's. Violent left gets crazy. FBI, Wisconsin teen murdered parents in plot to fund assassination of President Trump. Jesus. What a headline. That is big no bueno. Well, enjoy prison. Or rather, don't enjoy prison, because who enjoys prison? Store bang. Vacations are for women and children, damn it. JC, my aunt went to France for business. She said there were a ton of Americans there to see Taylor Swift because the tickets were cheaper. I went all the way to France just to see Taylor Swift? That's weird. Militants in Madison, Wisconsin. Jeez. Arsonist sets fire to Pennsylvania governor's mansion. Oh, man. That's a big no bueno. He's going to jail. And Stephen A. Smith hypes himself for president. Disgusted by both parties. Yeah, go ahead and run. Who cares? You're never going to win. President Booker, Corey, ready to run. I'm very sorry you have to see my senator, one of my senators, Cory Booker. He's a dumbass. We all know it. So, wants investigation into Trump insider trading. Oh, now he wants to investigate insider trading. You know, Nancy Pelosi only stood next to her for years. For years. Trump admin negotiating with 130 countries on tariffs. That's good. President Pocahontas, Congress has to take tariff authority away from Trump. And Disney, Marvel, Fantastic Four wades into gender politics. Ugh. JC, it was cheaper to fly to France for a week and go to a Taylor concert than pay the prices for tickets in the States. That's crazy. What are the tickets in the States? Like $10,000? How cheap is it to go to France? Maybe that's why my relative went. Weird. Comedian Theo Vaughn backs Trump tariff plan. If we don't try this, I think it's a wrap. Okay. Thanks, Theo. Theo's Canadian, isn't he? What does that endorsement mean? No offense to Theo. I kind of like Theo. He seems funny. I haven't really seen a lot of his set, but what I saw was okay. Bernie Sanders hits Coachella crowd with anti-Trump screed. Ooh. JC, you could go to France for a couple of thousands. Huh. Yeah, I don't want to go to France. Theo has a redneck accent. I thought he was Canadian, though. He's not? Where is he from? Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn. Okay. He was born in Louisiana. Oh, he's from Louisiana. Why did I think he was Canadian? Okay. All right. That makes sense. Did he move to Canada, maybe? No? JC, famed economist Theo Vaughn. Yeah, like, okay. So at least he's from this country, but I don't care what Theo thinks of his plan. I mean, I guess it's nice he supports it, but I wouldn't care what Kid Rock would say about the plan. And he's in the Trump camp. I mean, of course he's going to support it. And like, if he didn't support it, I wouldn't care. Like, who cares? I don't know. I don't think that's economically sound. Shut up, stand-up comic. Tell dick jokes. JC, you're mixing him up with Gavin or Crowder, Jim Carrey. I could have sworn I don't know why I thought he was Canadian, but I always did. Okay. He's from Louisiana. JC, Theo is like a male bimbo. Yeah, maybe. And here's the other new headline. The only other new headline: Weinstein rape retrial to begin Tuesday. Ugh, imagine this guy gets off. That would be horrific. If he gets out of jail, I mean, then Diddy might be on the run very soon. I mean, if he can, if Harvey Weinstein could get out of jail after those recordings, there is no justice. I mean, he seems insanely guilty. Insanely guilty. But I guess if you have money, you could just keep taking another shot at it. JC, Hollywood needs Harvey. I saw that thread on X. No, they do not. Look, there are plenty of other guys that know the difference between a hot chick and a mid. You just need the will to do it. The problem is none of those people are female. And a lot of female execs run the show now. So, you know, you need a guy to pick out hot chicks, not have sex with them, just pick them out. You know, just got to control yourself. This is why, this all goes back to one thing. When you're in a business, in a corporation, they like to have guys who are married. Because the idea is, if you are married, you're not screwing around. Okay? You're married, you're faithful to your wife, you're not trying to bang everything in a skirt that you meet in the office. But even that doesn't seem to hold anymore because marriage is a dead institution. But that's what we need. We need some kind of return to marriage so people could be locked into a relationship and know that they're in a relationship and won't just get out of it because they're having a bad day. I'm not saying you should be trapped in a loveless marriage for the rest of your life, but I am saying you should not be able to just snap your fingers and get out. You should be able to get out under, you know, circumstances that make sense. And adultery should 100% be part of the deal. Like if you committed adultery against your spouse, you should be penalized in the divorce. 100%. That has to come back. JC, the world found out Harvey has no penis. He has suffered enough. He needs to chase these broads out of Hollywood. Harvey was married. Yeah, but for him it didn't mean anything, I think. But you need to have consequences of screwing around. Now, some wives let their husbands screw around. That is a thing. But there has to be guardrails of some kind. I'm not saying it has to be exactly the way it was 50 years ago or whatever. There obviously could be some different things going on, but you can't have a guy working in the movie industry trying to bang every starlet he meets, especially the executives. It's a little different for the talent. That's a little different. The talent, they're going to do that. There's nothing you can do about it. That always is going to happen. They're actors, they emote. They're always screwing each other. But the management should not be in that pool. And that includes all the execs, the producers, and the director, I would say. Everybody else is it's more of a gray area, but it probably shouldn't happen on the set. You should probably have some guardrails to keep that from overwhelming everybody, because it just turns into a big mess, especially if somebody isn't on the same page or if somebody sees money. That's another big problem too. If you've got millions of dollars, you should definitely not be screwing around with some no-name secretary. No way. Not on the lot. You can go screw around with a hot secretary off the lot who's not working for you. Sure. If you want to do that, but you should be careful if you got millions of dollars. JC, you think Joker 2 would have been married if Harvey was still around? Joker 2? You think Lady Gaga would have been allowed to act if Harvey was on the job? Yeah. 100%. Harvey likes making money. And he would have gotten in line with the ESG stuff. You think he wouldn't? Look what kind of person he is. He'd in my opinion, 100%. He'd be, oh yeah, okay. So we're hiring this chick? Okay. 100% he would. Now, would he say behind the scenes that she's looks like she's got a horse face? Sure. He'd say that stuff behind the scenes, but he wants to make money. If he thought there was money in it, he'd cast her. What does he care? Now, again, he's not the only guy who's got an eye for hot broads with talent. There are plenty of guys out there who have the eyes for hot broads and can cast them without having sex with them. Harvey wasn't some magical genius. He was just one of the producers. That's all. He didn't cast every hot chick in Hollywood, even during his time. There are plenty of other guys. The problem is Hollywood. JC, Harvey wouldn't let that mid anywhere near a camera. Had to say her face and make her cry, and she'd run away. He'd say it to her face, make her cry, and run away. Not if he wanted money. Then some other studio would pick up the project and do it there. Harvey is not a good guy. I would not want to work for Harvey. I would not want Harvey in my organization. Not the way he acts. No way. And now he's in jail, and I think he should stay there. It's simple as. There's plenty of other producers that can pick hot chicks out of a lineup. Plenty. JC, Joker 2 make any money? So that's your metric. The Joker 2 didn't make any money. Therefore, how about the terrible script? Number one, I mean, you could have cast Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn again. It wouldn't have made any difference. It was a musical. It was terrible. Everything about it was terrible. Todd Phillips has a reputation. This is his second franchise that he totally botched, in my opinion. The first Hangover's great. The sequels are awful. The first Joker's great. The sequel is awful. See the pattern? So you got Todd Phillips. That's a factor. The only person on that film who was really any good was Joaquin Phoenix, and he seemed to be 100% on board to ruin it too. So I don't think Harvey Weinstein would have made it any better by hiring a hot chick in the role that he had banged and given a shot. JC, Harvey would have thrown Todd Phillips out a window as soon as he mentioned it being a musical. I guess. Then maybe you wouldn't have had the movie at all, but that probably would have been a good thing. But again, I wouldn't want Harvey around because he attacked women. I'm not sure what you're defending anymore, JEC. I saw that thread on Twitter, but it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of a dark joke. He's not the only guy in Hollywood. There's literally hundreds of producers and studio guys. So think of it this way. Harvey's antics probably ruined a bunch of movies. That could have been. JC, I might be being slightly facetious. Ah, okay. That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to get into a Douglas Murray, Dave Smith thing there. That was the other big news this week on podcasting, believe it or not. So I don't know if you want to talk about this, but so Dave Smith, famous libertarian comedian, and Douglas Murray, an author, they were on the Joe Rogan podcast. And the controversy is that Douglas Murray was kind of calling out Joe Rogan for having so many guests on who seem to be not very fond of Jewish people, let's say. Now, I don't think Dave Smith means to be anti-Semitic, but it's like he just discovered the Israeli government also does some terrible things. And he's been talking a lot about it, probably a little too much. And what Douglas Murray was pointing out to Joe Rogan was kind of being led down the primrose path a little bit because he's had so many guests recently, or a lot of guests recently, who are very anti-Israeli. But they're more focused on the religion. They're more focused on being Jewish than necessarily the government. And that is, it's not a good look, I think. James Lindsay's been calling it out, and that it's led to a lot of people talking on X about Jewish people in nasty ways. And it seems to be yet another psyop being formulated to possibly ruin MAGA. Because if the MAGA guys take some of these idiots in, it's going to look very bad. It's going to alienate centrists and independents who voted for Trump in the midterms, and that could be a rallying cry for the Democrats, not to take it all back, but to take enough of it back, because we have a very thin margin in the House, keep in mind. And we want to keep our margin and expand upon it. And right now, the Democrats still look incredibly terrible. I think we would expand our margin. But if this MAGA, not MAGA thing, but anti-Jewish thing explodes, and I think it's mostly an AstroTurf psyop to try to get people to say stuff, it could be bad. JC, it's mostly lefties going off on God's chosen people, though. That is true. And they've said some extremely anti-Semitic things. But who controls the media? It would be the left. Not Jewish people, lefties. Lefties control most of the mainstream media. So the spin's going to be, the people on the left love Jewish people, but people on the right. And now that's a bit of a hole they got to dig themselves out of, considering what Governor Cuomo did during the pandemic to the Orthodox Jews, which I will never forget because I was so horrified by watching that. I just couldn't believe that a New York governor would threaten the Hasidic community. I was just like flabbergasted. I still am. I still think back on that and think, and they did it to every church community here and the Jewish community here. But it was all like secondary. Our governor always does what the New York governor does, like, a few months later, like more quietly. But yeah, I would say it's mostly lefties. There's been a whole bunch of incidents of anti-Semitism, like blatant anti-Semitism amongst the left, the extreme left. There was the Women's March fiasco. There was a big thing with that. There's been attacks and other things. JC, if they try to spin it right-wingers doing it, lefties are more likely to vote Republicans. Yeah, but the thing is, some of these guys they're creeping into the right, and they're trying to get into the White House, and they may blow things up for Trump. They may end up saying something or doing something in front of either Trump or one of his guys or one of the guys he's trying to get in a House seat, and it could blow up. So it has to be called out. And so what Douglas Murray was saying, Joe Rogan, he's symbolically with Trump at least. I mean, he definitely voted for him. If Joe Rogan ends up with a guy on his podcast who later does something super crazy against Jewish people, that could look really bad optically, and they'll use it as a cudgel against MAGA and against Rogan. So I sort of side with Doug. I didn't see the whole podcast. I only saw clips of it. Dave Smith's starting to annoy me because he's becoming that guy who just argues semantics. And I think, JC, Trump is the most overly pro-Israel president ever, LOL. Oh, I know. Yeah, I think he's a little too pro-Israel in that he supports their government too much. He lets them. I think he should rein him in. It's gone on too long. But I'm willing to give him some leeway because he's got some kind of plan. But, I feel like the Israelis aren't going to listen to him ultimately. Especially not Netanyahu. I think he'll listen to him for a time, and then at some point he'll try to make a maneuver for his own political, life in that region. But it'll just look bad for his underlings, is the problem, and for people trying to get elected in states and districts and whatever. That's the real issue for the midterms. That's what's going to blow up if we're not careful. But the controversy was Dave Smith, after I think 4 days, is still trying to argue that he somehow won this debate with Douglas Murray, and he kind of looks like an a-hole. He kind of looked like an a-hole on the podcast, and he kind of looks like an a-hole now. And he's, to me, because he's a stand-up comic primarily, and he's wading into this very serious and complex issue, he's sort of the guy on the internet when you get into an argument. You ever get into an argument on the internet and then suddenly you win the point, and then the guy on the other end just goes, "Oh, I was only kidding. Go F yourself." Like he pretends like he wasn't really arguing with you. That's kind of what Dave Smith can do because he's a stand-up comic. He can kind of hide behind his own comedy in order to win the argument a little bit, or just say like, "Well, I was just kidding around," or whatever. It kind of is this flexibility that comedians have. At the same time, I don't really think he's that well versed in it, whereas Douglas Murray seems like he knows what he's talking about. But that's just me. And like, he was in the podcast and in his tweets decrying that no one will debate him. And the academics don't want to debate him because he's a comedian. And he doesn't know anything, but he is good at presentation because he's a comedian. Like, if I have many opinions, but I wouldn't expect someone from that realm to actually have a debate with me. It would be preposterous. I'm a internet clown. Even one of these woke academics wouldn't argue with me, even if they thought they could just trash me. It's different levels of argument, I think. But we'll see what happens. But that was the big controversy this week, if you didn't follow it. I don't think you guys did. But a lot of people didn't. It was interesting to me. It was something James Lindsay was talking about. And just something to keep an eye out for, I would say. Everybody in the internet, you just got to be careful. There's psyops everywhere. So just can't react to anything too quickly, especially these days. Now something hits on the Twitter and I just go, all right, maybe that's true. Or maybe in a day, maybe in the next hour, I'll know it's complete BS. I'm just going to let that sit for a moment before I say anything. But anyhow, I think I got to wrap it up. Okay, so what did we learn today? Well, we learned movies are still in the toilet. The MCU is probably going to hell. Minecraft is a juggernaut, but probably won't make $1 billion, surprisingly. A bunch of new movies came out, but they couldn't hang with it. And, yeah, that's about it. Oh, and Theo Von is actually from Louisiana. I'm still surprised at that. Still surprised at the Louisiana thing. He's not from Canada. I don't know why I thought he was from Canada. I could have sworn I heard that. It's just one of those things. We also learned, well, you guys didn't learn because you weren't here at the beginning. Ardent, I'm involved with the white well-being sphere, so I was peripherally aware of it, but Douglas Murray has some dolt takes at times, so I never watched the cast. JC, we learned Hollywood needs Harvey. No, we did not. And at the beginning of the podcast, I told you about my amazing Piney weekend. I had an amazing Piney weekend. I'll just go over it briefly because you missed it all. I went to a Stara Fair in Penns Grove, New Jersey, sold a bunch of books. Then I went to a historic Whitespog Village, and somebody bought an entire set of books, and that was very exciting. Ardent, we never got a mention of Sydney Sweeney in a bikini. Yeah, where the hell is Alex? He didn't show up. JC, Theo talks like a backwoods hick, not the Canadian kind. LOL. I just assumed that was Canadian, like backwood Alberta or something, accent. I mean, it did sound kind of southern to me, but I had heard he was Canadian, so I said, oh, they must have adopted some sort of southern accent in Alberta or something. I remember thinking, he doesn't say a boot, but he must be Canadian because that's I heard it. See how you convince yourself of things and then you're wrong. Yeah. How does a back? Well, you can't do the sound on a chat, but I'd be interested to know how the Alberta, or I assume Alberta because that's like your Texas. I assume there's some Canadian hick accent. I'll have to do some research. Ardent, Saskatchewan, the Alabama of the North. Oh, okay. So it's Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. All right. I'll have to look up accents in Saskatchewan later. Play them on a video. All right. Well, I got to wrap up here because I desperately got to go to the bathroom. What's up for next week? Next week's Easter. I think it's Easter next week. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. Because I'm supposed to do early Easter, and then I've been invited to an Easter party. I'm going to have to think about Easter. I might have to move off of Easter. I might do it on Saturday. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. But that's next week. And I'll be on the American Werewolf podcast on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking about Zodiac and how much I liked it. And Saturday, I'll be at something. What the hell am I going at on Saturday? Oh, this is Jersey Shore Collectors Con at the Showboat Casino in Atlantic City. 10 to 6. I'm kind of excited about this because I used to do the New Jersey Horror Con in the Showboat Casino, and I kind of can't afford to do a lot of expensive horror cons, so I haven't done it in a while. Not that they particularly raised their prices, but so I'm excited to be back at this because this is a new con, and yeah, he invited me there, so I'm very excited. I think I'm going to be one of the bigger guests, so it's good to be a guest. Collectors Con, back in the Showboat Casino. All right, I'm going to go. JC, Canada Hicks sounds similar to Wisconsin accent. Oh, okay. So like Jeremy from The Quartering, he's got kind of the Wisconsin accent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe with the baseball cap like Jeremy and the beard like Jeremy. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So Jeremy, you're saying Jeremy is a hick. Okay. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, somewhere behind me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next one.